All right, we are live for the TCR Hangout, draft party, whatever you want to call it. The draft has just started, so we're kind of getting things going. Probably gonna have some folks drop in here. I invited some different folks, and also for the good folks in the Discord, there's a link in there if you wanted to jump in. And this is just going to be kind of a hangout, respond, react to the picks. Just very informal, just hanging out with some friends, watching some draft stuff. Speaking of friends, we've got some folks in the chat already. Let me throw some shout outs to the folks in there. We got Hank Hill. Let's go. We got Red C. I'm ready to be let down, right? That's life as a Cardinals fan for a lot of years, but hopefully things are turning around, right? Under Monty. We've got Class Nasty. What's up, Professor? Appreciate you being here. We got the Gardecki avatar there. We got Grimdark. Sup, guys? Appreciate you. Ryan Marshall. Hello, everyone. Appreciate you being here. I like the Superman thing. That's nice. Brandon Probst, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We got Payo time. Hey, Joe and Chad. Happy draft day. Hey, Payo. I don't know if you're doing your own thing, but you're welcome to jump on here if you want. I also understand if you just want to kick back and enjoy the draft, but you would love, you're welcome to jump on here. I'll throw you that link in case you're interested. But if you're doing your thing, I also understand. But yeah, this is just a fun hangout. To talk about the picks, everything. Very informal. Rams trade up to 3. Take Harrison. What do you think? What I think is that I that would test my love for you, Payo. Zach, you are a good guy, but I might have to, there's your goodness has been what has kept me from holding your Ramsness against you. It might be harder for me to do that, right? What time does it start? Well, it has started now. Okay, cool. We'll love to have you on here. The draft has started, right? Officially. So looks like at least the broadcast of it says it has started. I don't see the timer for the first pick, but yeah. So all right. So what's going to happen, right? There's a lot of questions. I actually jumped on with One Bar and Lupagus, some Vikings content creators, and they were asking me, my thoughts. And we talked about this on draft previews. We've been talking about this, and certainly if you're following Twitter, there's plenty of discussion of this. And I know Kyle Odegaard has tweeted out that the draft odds, kind of where they're at now, and it really seems like the sharps in Vegas think that the Cardinals are sticking and picking. That is what the odds for who's going to be pick number 4, they've kind of increased, is what I understand from that. So all signs are pointing towards the Cardinals kind of staying put. Now, obviously, that could change, right? I think I have a hard time seeing the Cardinals trading back far. I think they want to. I think one of two things needs to happen for the Cardinals to make a trade back. Either they need to be blown away with an offer that's so good that they're willing to move off of Marvin Harrison Jr. and take their second or third wide receiver options. But the compensation would have to be really blow them away, or they would need to have a scenario where they were trading back in a scenario that still they felt like they could get Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe that's a trade back to trade back and trade back up to 5 or 6. Who knows? But I think the most likely scenario is that they're staying put, because I just don't think that the Giants are going to offer enough unless Drake May ends up being there. But if it's McCarthy, I think the Giants are going to stay where they're at. And I think the Vikings picks are too far back for the Cardinals liking, up to 11. Maybe if they offer 11, 23 and a future 1, maybe the Cardinals will take that and try to move back up and get a Dunze. But I think the Vikings are more likely to, and I talked about this on our last live stream, the preview. I think the Vikings are now starting to look at it like, hey, the Cardinals are more likely to stay put. We're going to do business with the Chargers and it'll be cheaper, right? So Monty's saying, I would cry of joy if we trade back with Giants. Giants take quarterback, Chargers choose Neighbors, right? Or the Giants take an offensive. Giants probably choose Neighbors, and the Chargers, we'd be looking at maybe them potentially taking an offensive tackle, right? I don't know. It's really a little hard to, man. But I'll tell you what, I tweeted this out. A couple people tweeted that I think it was Brad Spielberg tweeted that like a lot of smoke screens, more than usual, and just really feels like it's going to be a crazy draft. Just a lot of things that are going to be a lot of unexpected things is what he was talking about. Ryan saying, what time do you predict the Cardinals have their second pick? Ooh, man. Yeah, that's probably what this you would. Let's see. That's at 10 minutes. Is it 10 minutes a pick or is it 15? It's 10 minutes a pick. It's going to be really late in the night, right? It's going to be much later, probably 2.5 hours from now. That's my best guess. Maybe 3 hours from now. It's going to be away, right? Here we go. All right. So I'm going to, if you can hear the broadcast. Now we got a commercial with Barry Sanders and Roger Goodell. All right. So the draft's getting ready to start. And I think everyone knows, right, who the first pick is going to be. That just feels like the worst kept secret, right? Pick number 4, probably. I'd say I think teams will probably take. I don't know if they're going to take their full time for the pick or not. 30 to 40 minutes from now, but yeah, I don't know. Depends on how much of their time they use, right? So, all right. So, question for you all: who do you think is? Do you think it's clearly Jaden Daniels going second, or do you think there's a chance that Drake Mays? Because I think it seems like the consensus is Daniels second, right? And then May, and then pick 4, right? So let me know in the chat who you think is going to be the second player. I think we all know who the first one is, right? So, all right. So here we go. And the annual tradition, you think Ryan thinks is going to be Daniels? Yeah, I think so too. It's the annual tradition of booing the commissioner, Roger Goodell. All right. Eminem just like I don't know, he does not look like he's excited to be next to Roger Goodell. All right, so Eminem's cheering on or getting the crowd going, of course. And now they're getting some of the. Now they got some of the Lions players coming out there. All right. So, tell me in the chat what you think the likelihood of the Cardinals picking. Do you think it's 100%? Yeah, I guess so. He's the hype man for this. For the obviously it's in his hometown, right? So, Detroit. Look how small he is compared to all of them except Barry Sanders. So, what do y'all think? What do you think the odds are that the Cardinals stick and pick? Do you think it's 90% that they stick, 60%, 30%? What do y'all think? What are your odds that you think of them sticking and picking? Do you think it's foregone conclusion? Let me know in the chat. Oh, Jared Goff just sounded awkward. All right, so Johnny thinks 60-40 trading. So you think it's more likely trading. Mazaki Felix thinks 20% likelihood they stick pick. So Mazaki thinks there's a trade going on. I know you've mentioned that in comments before and stuff. Michael Richard thinks they are sticking and picking. Okay. 70% stick and pick. 99% stick and pick. Okay. So a little bit across the board. Yeah, I feel like right now, for me, I think it's like 70% stick and pick is kind of where I'm sitting at with that now. But ooh, Jay in the Bay, what is up, my friend? What's good, T-Star? What's the Cardinals' biggest offensive defensive needs? Well, biggest offensive need is wide receiver. That's just very clearly need number one. Defensive need, I think you could make an argument that between two positions. I think edge rusher or a number one cornerback. I think both of those are pretty big needs on defense. If I had to pick one, I'd actually probably go with a number one edge rusher. We've got young players at edge. We've got young players at cornerback. They're going to need to get both. But I think the edge our sack production is really bad. Defensive interior line is a little bit up there too, but they signed some free agents. I think they'll address that in the draft with at least one player. But yeah. Chris is saying 65% stick. So, all right, Jay, what's going on with your receivers, man? Is receiver going to be a major need for y'all after you can trade away both your? I mean, there's all these rumors, right, about Debo and Ayuk. What's going on there with that? Are they one of them getting traded or not? Please give us number one corner. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need one. I think they'll be drafting one. I think, I mocked in my mock draft. I had them picking one in the, trading up from 27 and getting a first, a cornerback kind of in the middle of the first round. But I also think in the second round is a distinct possibility. If you look at the almighty draft chart that I've kind of shown in the past, they really value or that draft chart shows like cornerback at second round as a really major kind of hot spot, so to speak, right? Chance at Doctor, what pick round? It's the first pick. Bears are still on the clock, 8.5 minutes left. Calvin, here we go. Appreciate you being here, my friend. So yeah, like if you look at this, the almighty chart, right, of the Patriots and Titans and now Cardinals draft picks, with Monty in the front office, kind of as this heat map here. You see cornerback in the second and third round is actually a major area for them. They took one in the first round during the time he was in the front offices there. But that second day 2 and then late again in day 3 are really those hot spots for cornerback. So although they could take one first round, I think second round is also a place, or third round. I mean, there's some that they like there. So they have, 3 third round picks. So maybe they go cornerback there like they did with Garrett Williams. So we'll see, right? All right, Jay's got an answer. We'll find out tonight. Ayuk wants the most lucrative contract extension he can get, but it may not come from the 49ers. We already paid Debo. Brock will get a massive contract extension next year. Yeah, and I think that's the deal, right? Like you can as much as people say cap isn't real, it is real. It's fluid, but you can only pay so many players max contracts, right? Or top of the market contracts. When you got McCaffrey's making good money for a running back. You've got obviously tight end Kittle, who's assuming is on pretty good contract, number one wide receiver, and you're going to be paying a quarterback. It's hard to and then with all the players in defense, you got some solid defensive players. It's going to be hard to get 2 wide receivers in with that kind of contract. So no, that makes sense. So maybe extend Nike next season. Maybe, yeah. There gets to be a point though where it's hard to fit all those guys in there. So we'll see, right? All right. So I'm got talking are they still on the clock? Yeah, they're still on the clock. So the pick is not officially in yet, but it is likely to be in soon. Let's see. Sorry, I'm organizing my monitors here. Okay. Got there we go. Williams just got a call. Someone in the Discord says, so probably going. All right. So oh, Jack saying, sorry, Joe, I won't be able to make it. I'm on cruise ship and internet. It's not letting me join. Well, watching from Alaska. Oh, that's got to be rough. Yeah. From a cruise ship. I hope you enjoy that, though. Seriously, though. And Jay's asking, what are the Rams' biggest offensive, defensive needs? Ramsky is tackle or linebacker or edge. Yeah. Definitely, they could use a couple things like that, huh? Tackle for sure, I would say. All right, so yeah, I wish they would just make the pick, right? You know, like why use the whole 4.5 minutes or whatever. Hey, have a great cruise, and hope you get to at least catch some of the draft there with the really bad internet on the cruise ship, and enjoy that for sure. All right. So the Bears have never had a great quarterback. Like when you look at it, Jim McMahon, they won a Super Bowl with him, but he wasn't, an elite quarterback. Jay Cutler, like in terms of just quarterbacking skill, one of the better they've had. This is a franchise that's not had good quarterbacks. The pick is in though, so if Caleb Williams is even close to what people think he's going to be, he's going to be seems like the best quarterback they've ever had. It would seem. I just don't remember any other quarterbacks that were even remotely good. I guess Cutler was kind of okay. So Peo's got, what NFL team do you think could look like the biggest loser this draft? Oh boy. So that's a great question. In one sense, in a longer picture, you have to look at the Panthers and look at like that. They could be taking Caleb Williams right now if they didn't make the trade that they did, right? And they're obviously the quarterback they drafted last year didn't work out, at least in his rookie year, so well. So that certainly is a team you could look at that way, right? But we'll have to see who, and obviously teams that make questionable picks, but that's certainly a start. And I think this is a good point. If Minnesota, if they somehow don't come away with a quarterback with all that draft capital they trade for sure, that could be a team, right? So yeah. All right. And then Hugh, thanks for being here. I'm European, and I know that world-class footballers who have sons that play the sport, sons rarely live up to hype. I'm asking this in relation to the possibility of trading down. So Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is going to live up to the hype, but it's hit or miss with professional athletes, right? Sometimes the pick is in. Caleb Williams, everyone expected that. It's hit or miss. Like you do have you have some people like Steph Curry, right? I know that's basketball, but his dad was a basketball player, but he is much more accomplished than his father was. But then it seems like they are more often, it feels like, at least the big name football players, it feels like it's more often that their children aren't as good. Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the few that I remember that seems like he's going to be up there. So yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Rambo, thanks for being here. Here's my return. How y'all been? We've been good. Good to see you here. So Bears with Caleb Williams, probably going to end up being the best quarterback in their franchise history. We'll see, but I think so. So, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna hang out here, and I think depending on how things go, I'm thinking I'll probably just hang out here live. Oh, I think we got someone who just popped in. Oh, Andrew, what is up, dude?
How's it going?
Good, man. It's good to talk to you in person and have you on here.
Definitely. It's good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was getting a little lonely in here just talking, myself to the chat. So I'll let you. So the Caleb Williams pick is in. So we'll let you get in there right away. What do you think? What are you expecting from him, and what do you think for him as a pick for the Bears?
Man, it's probably one of the most loaded questions of the draft. Been watching the kid since Oklahoma. He's got all the talent in the world, man. I don't think anybody can really deny that. I don't want to say that there are character issues, the term that's been thrown around. I think that's a little heavy of a term, but
Right.
he's definitely a unique individual. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it's going to come down to is does he have it? Does he have that winning mentality? Is he going to be 100% focused on football and on improving? If so, I mean, I think they just got a home run. If not, then you got another Ryan Leaf on your hands. So it could go either way.
Yeah. And I think, I'm always, excuse me, kind of tend to lean on the side of defending the players when it comes to those kinds of comments, because I think, I think some of this is old school mentality about what, about how people conduct themselves or what have you. And it gets to be a little bit, it feels like the boomers, right, versus the millennials or whatever. And I think, when I look at a person's character, someone who's unique and kind of does things a little differently is fine. I think there's maybe the question is what's their emotional maturity? Because you can be an unconventional person, but respond to things well, right? So if you have a high level of emotional maturity, intelligence, even if you're paint your fingernails or you're just kind of quirky, that's fine, right? So it's how do they respond, to adversity, right? And challenges. So that's I don't think, as much as people want to say this, that it's as simple as old school mentality is better at that than people who are maybe more atypical. So we'll see, right? So
We'll see for sure. Like I said, I mean, I've watched him a lot. I watched a lot of Oklahoma, a lot of USC, and I'm really not that concerned. I've said that a few times. I mean, there's a couple little things that maybe raise some question marks, but I think a lot of it's blown out of proportion, to be honest with you. And I really don't want to talk about the record at USC. If you actually watch the tape, that defense was horrible. And if they had any semblance of a defense, they would have done better. I mean, he was putting up 24 plus points a game easily. So
yeah, it's like Mazaki Felix thinks he's mentally fragile, doesn't think he'll succeed, and we'll see. I think I will say this. I think the whole the thing I will reject out of hand, right? The thing I will immediately reject is people saying, "Well, he paints his fingernails," so that no, screw that. Whatever. That's just he's creative. That's not mentally fragile. Now he might be. I don't know. He may not have the resilience, but I have to imagine teams have done their due diligence. So I'm going to lean on saying I think he's fine. I think the media narrative stuff and people taking stuff. We saw that with Kyler, right? And I know there's some people who still aren't sold on him, but it feels like that's kind of started to cut, we've started to come out of that now, I think. And, we'll see though, right? Real quick, Hugh said, thank you for this comment. Just wanted to add that I love your videos. You've answered my questions before, but because of the time difference, I don't get to watch live often, but always catch up the day after. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Mizaki say, I 100% agree with you on that. My opinion is not based on that at all. So I respect that, right? If it's, as long as you're not based it on, kind of his being kind of unique or whatever. So we'll have to see, right? So Washington
living in an echo chamber, right?
Right. Exactly. And I know I've said this before when it came to the Kyler Murray stuff. I work with college students. I teach at a college. So I'm with students, people that age all the time. So to me, I'm maybe a little less kind of bothered by that. I think it is a little bit of a generational kind of thing, right? So, sorry, I'm also typing and doing things. Okay, so do you think the pick is in? Do you think it's clearly Jaden Daniels? Or do
I mean,
you?
I don't know if you've been paying attention to me. I have been like the one voice that thinks it's gonna be May, but
Okay.
just given all the stuff that's come out, it's really hard to still feel that way. But the one article that I saw that had me clinging to the May to Washington thing is at the combine. He did an interview, and come to find out, he has connections to basically the entire offensive coaching staff. Two
Mm,
of their offensive coordinators coached him at UNC. Their quarterbacks coach recruited him out of Stanford. Cliff
okay.
Kingsbury knows his offensive coordinator, and those two coaches that coached him at UNC that are now with Washington, they all run the same air raid that Cliff
Mm.
is running. So for me, a lot of the Jaden Daniels stuff up until recently seemed like a lot of just speculation, whereas that seemed like something tangible. But man, it's hard to ignore the amount of noise. So we'll see here in a few seconds.
Yeah, it's the pick is in, so let's kind of take a look and see. They're walking up now.
There it is. It's JD.
All right.
Now it gets interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for Daniels, man. I can't just watching him play at ASU to just think that in a few years he would wind up being the second overall pick in the draft. I mean, talk about a turnaround. Good for him.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. So now it seems like now this is where it gets interesting, like you said, right? Because there's some question about what happens here, right? So yeah.
Yeah,
So
is it going to be, is New England going to stick, or is Minnesota going to give him a haul for Drake because Drake's there? So that
right.
would seem like that was the condition that they were waiting on.
Right. These guys need to hurry up. Want to see the Cardinals pick 100% right. Lance, thanks for being here, right? Appreciate you being here. What the Pats do will have massive waterfall effects on the rest of the year. 100%. Like if the Pats don't do the chalk move, right? If they do something different, it all of a sudden sets off a huge chain reaction, right? In terms of like, then all of a sudden, if they go McCarthy, right? Then people who weren't going to trade up to 4 are now trading to 4 or talking to trade to 4, right? They go something else. If they go Marvin Harrison Jr. just really throws for the Cardinals are out of there at pick 4, I would think, right? Hugely, yeah.
Oh, they'd be out so quick. What are your thoughts, Joe, on Jaden overall as a prospect?
I mean, I think like obviously they talk a lot about his mobility and that that when things broke down, he used had that club in his bag, so to speak, and that he's going to need to move off that. But he was also very efficient with it. But I think he's got the arm talent. I mean, you don't put up those numbers without the and the SEC, right? Without that, certainly he's got talent around him. That's often the question you look at with with a program like LSU and the 2 first-round receivers he's throwing the ball to. But overall, and I subscribe a little bit to the kind of Brett Coleman's new philosophy on what you look for in quarterbacks. It used to be, looking for pro system quarterbacks. And now really what it is that you look for quarterbacks who have the talent and are coachable. And then you need them in the right situation. Right. And so, is the situation good? Maybe, maybe not. They do have a receiver to throw to, at least one good receiver, a couple decent receivers, I think, to throw to there. I think Kingsbury, for all of his flaws, will put him in a situation to, he was able to create some good offenses at points. So, so I think overall, I think it might be a rough first year, but I think he's going to be okay. But you follow the college game more than I do. I get a little more into the roster building side of things, but
yeah. I like him. My only concern with him, my only one concern is when he runs, he doesn't seem to have any type of spatial awareness or like threat detection. The dude got absolutely lit up last year on several plays. We saw Anthony Richardson, who's got like 100 pounds or something on Jaden Daniels. He couldn't even last 6 weeks playing that way. So
Yeah.
if Daniels can't figure that out, it's going to be a struggle. But if he can, I think he can be a weapon. So I think that's going to be a big key for Cliff, is using that kind of experience he had with Kyler and Kyler's amazing sliding ability with his baseball skills, and trying to teach Daniels how to slide that way.
No, that's a great point, right? Absolutely. Like that was one of the things about Kyler, right? Is that for all of his questions about his size, his ability to know that baseball slide. Yeah, I know he still got injured, but that helped prevented a lot of potential injuries that he might have had otherwise, right? So, yeah, for sure. So it looks like, yeah, the Patriots pick is in, so everyone looks like they're sticking, right? So the question is, is it the quarterback, right? And or not?
Fingers crossed, man. Here we go.
So the Patriots, Adam Schefter reporting that he's told the Patriots are going to take their quarterback of the future, which makes sense, right? I mean, new head coach. They Mac Jones isn't the guy. They traded him away. You've got to get your quarterback, right? And we're on the clock. That's right. Dana, good to see you. So now we're going to get to see how that pick works out. All right. Who it ends up being, most likely May, right? Maybe they surprise us with McCarthy, but who do you think it is?
May.
Yeah, me too. I think that seems to be the most. I
think if they wanted McCarthy, they would have traded out because they know they could get him at a later point.
That's a good point too. All right, well, we're about to find out. All right, Dana's moderating another stream, she'll be in and out. Okay.
There he goes.
All right. So first 3 picks have been very much chalk, right? What everyone expected. Now the draft begins, right?
Now it gets fun.
Right. Red Sea is losing his mind. He's so effing nervous. Yeah, I hear that. All right. So Cardinals are on the board. So excited. All right. So what do you think? I mean, I've asked the chat the likelihood of a trade. What do you think?
I just don't think Minnesota. I'm still where I'm at when we talked last. I just don't see Minnesota giving up what Monty wants for the 4th best quarterback.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think so too. They're still on the clock.
See, this is when you want the video of inside the war room with Monty right now, like all the calls and everything. Like what we saw last year, I can only imagine what he's going through right now.
Yeah, 100%. Decimus, thanks for being here. Totally up to us now, right? 6 minutes, 5 minutes. All right. This is that nerve-wracking thing. Are we going to see that Cardinals logo stay there, right? Jackie McWhorter, your mom, right?
Yeah,
I'm listening and learning very exciting stuff. Raised a really good young man here. So good job to you, Jackie. All right.
You lie so well.
What's that?
Said you lie so well.
I'm so good at that, right? Yeah. No. So the Cardinals logo is still on the board with the time counting down, right? So let's see. All right, and I don't want any spoilers, right? So probably.
Yeah, I'm staying off Twitter right now.
Yeah, someone in the Discord just threw something in. I hope they're just saying stuff. I think they're just saying stuff to mess with people. All right, 5 minutes left. So you think they're sticking and picking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, Kyler kind of spoiled it this morning with his little cryptic tweet about immaculate vibes, like immaculate reception. That was what I picked up from that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So now, okay, what happens if they take neighbors?
Whew.
I mean, because that is if they stick and pick, that is absolutely a possibility. Because as much as fans have said, that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the consensus #1 wide receiver, you've heard people in the know, people who do this stuff for a living saying, hey, a lot of teams have them, kind of even, right? So
I mean, I wouldn't have a meltdown. I think I know there are some fans out there. Marco Wilson Burner on Twitter, he is a huge LSU fan and big Neighbors guy. He would be stoked. There'd be some fans that would be pissed. But ultimately, if that's who Monty thinks is the better player, then I trust him.
yeah, I'm kind of in that place. Like I prefer, Marvin Harrison Jr., but if they take neighbors, I'm going to trust. I mean, I think they're both going to be studs. So, maybe one of them will be better, but I could live with either, but definitely want Marvin Harrison.
Pick is in.
Pick is in. Okay, here we go. Zach Felix say they might. We don't know who they think the fourth quarterback is. McCarthy might be better on the board. Monty fiercely working those phones right now. Man, I hope we get to see video from inside the draft room at some point. Right, that video was so great last year. So the pick is in. All right.
I think it was on AZ's
Sports fan.
Yeah. I'm like, what is it? The 98 second on the radio.
On the radio. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about like whenever you see the pick is in, the pick was actually turned in like 4 or 5 minutes prior to that.
Nice. So
yeah, I know. May's good. Enough of his highlights.
Right. All right. Now we're just I'm watching ESPN's coverage. What network are you watching?
I've got it on 15 because I don't have cable right now, but I've got like an antenna.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. So they can announce it or what? Come on. Don't keep us hanging.
Right.
So they stuck and puck. I've been saying that a few times, right? Stick and pick, stuck and puck.
Unlike the Coyotes.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, God, that's so heartbreaking.
I know. Too soon.
All right, he is walking up. Marvin Harrison Jr. Who says no?
Let's go.
So,
sorry, I think I might be a little bit ahead of you.
All right. Woo! All right. After so much speculation, right? After months of speculation and consternation and every nation you can think of, right? Wondering, worrying, we know who it is. It's Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver who most people would say is the best in the draft. I'm not going to go all the way to consensus because there's rumors that some people had neighbors tied or ahead of them, but close to as consensus as you can get. Arguably the best receiver in a long time to come out in the draft. Have heard comparisons to Larry Fitzgerald by, certain people also compared him to Calvin Johnson. Those are high praise. He's got to prove it, but man, he's got the size, he's got the tools, he's got everything you're looking for. Hell yes, right? Yeah, right. Your 49ers gonna have hard. You guys got to get some bigger cornerbacks there, Jay. Right? Let's go. So, yeah. So this is exciting news. Like, think about that offense, man. Think about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, right? Like that is like, man, like that. Yeah, I'm speechless, and that takes a lot, right? But like, you just think about how those two pass catchers, right? And then they're going to add another pass catcher, right, in there into somewhere probably later in the draft, probably someone more with speed, right? But yeah, all for it. They couldn't get the good price, right, for a trade. Yeah, 100%. All right. Whew. I'm excited. This is like having a true elite wide receiver who's gonna, young, because we had Hopkins, and he wasn't in his prime or towards the end there, but yeah. Look at that. We got someone else.
I mentioned this in the stream with Brian.
Woo! Kev!
Yeah.
From across the pond. It's only 2:41 a.m. this time, isn't it?
It's 1:41 a.m.
1:41, not as bad. Okay.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right. We just kind of talking about how excited we are about this pick. Kevin, pipe in, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the guy that I've been pounding the table for since the start. Blue chip, bloodline, elite talent, wide receiver. This is our X for the next 15 years. It's slam dunk. It's safe pick. I know people were talking about trading, and no, this is it. This is the best. Sorry if my audio is a bit strange as well. I'm having to use my laptop today because my computer is set up upstairs. So.
Yeah, no. Listen, make yourself comfortable. You got the Cliff Kingsbury draft room thing going on, right?
Not quite,
but Mizaki Felix is a little down on it. Mizaki wanted to trade back and go other positions. Probably gonna be drafting top 10 against next year. I don't think we will be. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. I got a feeling like this offense is. I think this offense is gonna be good. And I think they're going to fix the defense to get it to be at least serviceable. I feel like even though like the defensive linemen they signed weren't like big name guys, they brought stability to that interior defensive line, which was one of the biggest deficiencies. They got legitimate NFL players, right? Just solid players. They got a cornerback, and Murphy Bunting, and I think they're going to continue adding through this draft. I think they're going to get that defense up to at least a respectable level this year. And I think the offense is going to move the ball really well. So, yeah.
Well, we were, top 10 in EPA after Kyler came back?
Yep.
Yeah, right. And now he's got Harrison Jr. to throw to, right? And McBride entering his prime.
Yeah, and you can't even really say we lost Hollywood out of there because down the stretch he really didn't do much and was hurt most of the rest of the season. So all we did was add to the roster.
Right.
I'm really curious to see what the Chargers do now. To see if they do go with the player that everyone's been saying that they're going to be picking.
Right. I mean,
I've been saying it.
I think this is where the draft starts to get interesting now.
See, I think they trade back. Right?
Yeah, I think they're going to trade now, to be honest.
I see them trading back because they don't want to flip anyone to the right side and they want a right tackle. That's why Latham has been Mel mocked Latham there in his first draft, and that was what kind of turned me on to that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're on the phone to Minnesota right now, or the Giants maybe to come up one.
Yeah, well, I mean, there might be a bidding war between those two, right?
I mean, we're down to 245.
Probably that last pick, our pick was probably the heart was pounding in the chest, just waiting. I was just hoping that we didn't see that trade had come in, but
yeah, and and you look at at least on my screen, the pick is not in. There's still 2 minutes, so I feel like they're wheeling and dealing. I mean, I think negotiating, right? Oh, Mizaki's got to get out of here. I can't watch the disappointment anymore. Oh, you're like the only person I think in this chat is disappointed. But hey, I respect your right to have whatever opinion you want. So yeah, see you later. Enjoy the rest of the night. Well, there's another pick. Maybe they'll get the guy that you want later on. Let's go, Hank. Right? Yep, 100%. So, all right.
Hank Hill is a fan. We know we done good. Said if Hank Hill's a fan, we know we done good.
Right. We're doing something right. Okay, so now we got to look up to pick 27. Do you think they're trading up? Do you think they're trading back? Do you think they're sticking and picking there? What do you think we're doing with pick 27? Andrew, why don't you get us started on that?
Man, I really think it depends on how these the rest of the top 10 goes. I think if you end up seeing a couple of the edges come off the board, that could kind of force Monty's hand. But if you see some of the players he likes kind of slipping a little bit, he might stay. And then if they kind of go in that middle round and there's no one there, then he might just back out. So I don't know. My gut's telling me he'll probably want to trade up for an edge. But I mean, I could see it going anyway at this point.
Yeah, this is it. I can see it going three ways, and it seems like such a cop out to say that, but I can see that us either seeing how the next run is going to go. If we're going to start to see a run of tackles, I think we're going to see a run of. I think we're either going to completely trade out of the first and pick up more assets for the second, or we're just going to stick and pick. But I don't see us sticking and picking. There's going to be some sort of trade up or trade down, I think.
Chargers pick is in. So do we think it's Joe Alt? Or do you think they could use a receiver?
A sensible one. Unless, it could be Neighbors.
Or do they just go way off the board and go with Neighbors?
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if they do that because look at what, like, everyone's talked offensive tackle, but I don't know. Yeah. Michael Richard, you think they draft JJ and draft Herbert to the Vikings. There's been rumors about that maybe that's a little out there, but Red Sea has JC Latham. I know a couple of people have kind of talked about that as a possible pick for them. Christian is saying, I think trade up is more likely if there's a run in tackles, which causes some of the top offensive players to drop a bit. That's a good point. Yeah. I think they're either going to. I think they're going to trade either up or back, and I think more likely they're going to trade up, because they've got all those third round picks. And I think yes, they could stay and take those picks, but I think part of the reason you add all that draft capital is to be able to move up. And I think we talked about this in in the draft preview live stream. Like, I think they've got a list of like 5 or 6 guys, a combination of tackles, edge rushers, and cornerbacks that they like. And they think all those guys are probably going to go somewhere late teens or early 20s. I have a feeling they're going to wait until like the last of those guys are left. Whichever of those positions it be. It might be a tackle, might be a corner, might be an edge. But whichever one of their 5 or 6 guys is left, I think they're going to move up and take him when he's the last of their list there. That's my philosophy. All right, so the pick is in. All right.
I'm still waiting for the commissioner. A bit behind there overseas.
Okay, I won't spoil anything.
Yeah, don't spoil it, please. Okay. Yeah, I see it now.
I'm very behind. Let me see.
Okay.
It's just my stream. Oh, here he comes.
Oh, commissioner's not even coming up.
Oh, there we go. He's walking to the podium now.
All right, don't look at the chat then, Kevin.
I know, like,
All right. I mean, I think it's the expected pick, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a sensible pick. For them wanting to set up that run-heavy offense, I think he's an absolute monster in the run game.
Yeah. No, I think
know
so.
some Tennessee fans that are going to be pissed right now.
Yeah. We got Lamar Mitchell. Thanks for being here. Another Cardinals fan told me after the last game of our season that we wasn't going to be able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I wonder what he is thinking about now. Probably how excited he is to have Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe. So
did you guys? Yeah. I take it you guys saw the tweets from Kyler in Paris earlier today. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mentioned how,
isn't it? Like, did they know? Did they slip a few little? But
I interpreted it when he used the word immaculate to be like the immaculate reception. That's yeah.
It's okay, Jackie. We understand. This is Draftmas. It's like we're like little kids right now. Like it's our Christmas. Kuiper Claus brought us what we wanted for Christmas, right? Draftmas. So we're all excited.
That's the thing. My wife, since I've started doing this podcast, she's always known I've had an interest in NFL, but she doesn't quite understand the draft. And I was trying to explain it to her, and I was like, "This is bigger than the Super Bowl for me." She's like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." And I'm glad that's why I think you and I hit it off so well, because I'm also like, my ex-wife tweeted me she's like, "Merry Christmas," right? Like she knows, right? And she's like, "Hope you have a good draft." I'm like, "Thank you," and like this is, I don't know, maybe it's just that nerdy part of me that loves roster building and that side of stuff as much as the game. I just like the fact that I'm familiar with all the prospects, what they can do, what they can bring to teams, but there's just, you never know what's going to happen, and that's what makes it so great.
Now, maybe part of that is being a Cardinals fan. We're always having to look forward to the future, right? Because
I think
the
I think
present
hopefully now draft
has
will be better.
right. But it really is. It's like opening presents. I mean, I really do love kind of just seeing who the picks are going to be and then figuring out how these new players are. So,
I think it was Josh Norris last night. Somebody put out a tweet saying the NBA playoffs are better than the NFL playoffs or something like that. And Norris quote tweeted it and was like, okay, let's be honest. The commissioner reading names off of cards draws bigger ratings than the NBA finals.
I managed to film myself on the reaction for the Marvin pick, which I'm going to put up.
So Giants pick is in. What do we think? I mean, Chris thinks it's JJ. I mean,
JJ. I did see a lot of stuff going around about potentially they'd be happy waiting at 6. I think they've called everyone's bluff.
There's a lot of talk that they're looking to get a quarterback this draft, but do they go neighbors and try to get one of the next tier quarterbacks? Kind of in the second round. I don't know.
I don't think so, because I think if they don't get a winning record this year, I think Brian Dable's going to be on the hot seat.
Yeah. But maybe, like, maybe you.
But we do say that he wasn't really the one who gave the extension. I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think that really matters. You're the quarterback whisperer, and you can't get anything better than that out of Jones.
True.
If you're Dable, I think you'd rather get the receiver than the quarterback, because that's more likely to make you better quicker if you're the coach who's not a brand new coach. Maybe.
I agree.
So pick is in. That's a C.
Do you think
I know who it is?
Atlanta are going to trade out?
I think Atlanta's going to stay where they're at. Because I think Tennessee's going to tap. Ooh, okay.
They did it.
God, I'm so over.
Sorry, I didn't say nothing.
This is
I said it could be a lot.
Television. I have to watch it through the zone on a stream on my Fire Stick, and it's so behind.
Yeah, well, I guess being on the other side of the globe, right? You're going to have a little bit more of a delay. I'm a little bit delayed.
Oh, okay. They did go neighbors, right?
Okay. So, like Tennessee, everyone thinks they're going to go tackle, right? But maybe they don't because with Alt gone. So do they? I think
it could be a spot for people trying to get in the top 10.
Actually, I think that's a good point.
Probably go back to 11, 12. Still probably be able to pick up Bawaga. They'll all be sat there.
I think this is where Vikings trade up. I think that's a great point. And if so, that's
to 11.
That's a great outcome for them, because I jumped on with a couple of Vikings content creators before the draft about an hour or so ago. And, they were like, what do you think is going to happen? And, they were really worried that Cardinals were going to trade to someone else and someone else was going to get McCarthy. So now here we are, pick 7, and McCarthy's still on the board. They can trade up and not have to give up as much as they would have had to. So Vikings fans are probably losing their, right now. Waiting to see.
There must have been some sort of panic setting in there when nothing had been done prior to the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they probably saw the Cardinals pick as in, I think all panic was probably loosen.
Now the thing is, like, is there competition for, like, this is where now we're starting to look at where the Raiders and Broncos might look to trade it, because this is doable for them, but the Vikings have more ammunition, right, to make that move. Whoops.
If I was Tennessee and Minnesota on the phone, I'd be asking for 11 and 23 right now. I'd be like, come get your guy.
Yeah. Right.
And you'd still pick up a tackle, and you pick up 23 to... I'm not sure what else Tennessee.
So when you were asking about Atlanta trading, were you asking, do I think they'll trade back? Is that what you meant? Then okay, that I could see. Then if Tennessee sticks and they're not taking, I don't imagine them taking a quarterback.
There's been a lot of talk to say that somebody wants to come up for Odunze.
Okay.
And
Oh.
obviously Chicago is sitting there at 9.
Right.
There's
Jaguars.
Also talks that LA are trying to get into the top 10. The Rams
Okay.
are trying to get into the top 10. They're probably after Bowers.
Okay.
Or they're probably trying to leapfrog Minnesota at 11 to get Byron Murphy.
That's the one I think.
Say that if Minnesota couldn't get the quarterback they were after, then they'd go to Byron Murphy. And obviously the Rams just lost Aaron Donald. Yeah, you've got Kobe Turner waiting in the wings, who had a phenomenal rookie season, but it's interesting.
It sounds like the Bears are really in on Murphy at 9.
Okay. Interesting.
I think, yeah. So it could even fall to 10 at the Jets for Ginzo, which is his floor, which is incredible if the Jets manage to get that.
Right. You know, as much as there were all these rumors about it being chaotic, so far it's been
every year that this happens, though, doesn't it?
Right.
Everyone says it's going to be so crazy. There's going to be so many trades, and you get to like pick 15, and you're just sat there thinking, "Oh, well,
wow."
Obviously we can't speak because obviously we were the ones who did the most trading last year, really. But
right. So we'll. I mean, but with that quarterbacks on the board, that's you have to imagine
what happens with the teams that apparently want to train down, which is
yeah.
Denver.
I can't spoil the pick, but I will spoil. Tennessee is picking.
Okay. Okay. So the pick is in. Yep. Just see that now. Yeah. I mean, I have to imagine there's going to be a trade up for McCarthy, right? I don't think he's just going to fall to someone, is he?
You think? I mean, Tennessee might have picked.
No, see, I don't see. Here's my thing. I think McCarthy is this year's Levis. Levis, the guaranteed first-round quarterback that went round 2 last year.
Yeah,
I think this is a prime example of people, the media, sort of talking that up as well, because they know that the 3 quarterbacks are there. They need to sort of create that hype, and I think it's just the hype train that's just kind of slowed down. And
well, it reminds me a little bit of Mac Jones, right? Because even if we don't go all the way to the second round, like Mac Jones, a lot of people talking about, was he going to be taken? Some people had San Francisco taking the 3rd, right? And then he slid, right? And, and Patriots got him middle of the first round. So I wonder if it's going to be a little bit like that too, So you mentioned Levis as well, right? That's even further slip. When you look at it, though, you have 3 teams that really kind of need to look at a quarterback, right? Raiders, Vikings, and Broncos in the worst way. And so you would think one of them is going to pull the trigger to get ahead of the other 2. I don't know, though.
From what Ben Albright was talking about today, he was mentioning that the quarterbacks that Denver are looking at are not the ones that were being reported earlier, and then later on in the day, stuff was coming out about Rattler, and they did a lot of work on Rattler.
They did. That's got to be second. So that's why I think that Denver are looking to trade back, because they'll know that they'll be able to pick up Rattler, second or third, probably second round. So yeah, it's interesting who will come up with Denver though.
Right.
Apparently Seattle want to trade back as well.
Seattle wanting to trade back is interesting. They could go a lot of different ways.
Man, it's commercial breaks. Come on, get back and give us the pick, right? Okay, so with Marvin Harrison Jr. the pick, we think next pick is most likely defense, or do you think there's still a chance offensive tackle?
For Tennessee?
For Arizona.
Oh, for Arizona. I think tackle might be in play. Just for knowing how they operate and how they want to sort of build this team. It's going to be in the trenches.
Yeah.
I think it's either going to be Jazon Newton somehow, if they trade him, or if he falls. But I've just got a feeling they're going to go tackle. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, some solid right tackle options.
Catdog saying, you glad they didn't mess around and trade that pick? In the end, I think I'm relieved that they stuck and stick and picked. I'm just going to keep saying that. I mean, if they had traded and they still got one of 3 receivers, I was going to be okay with it. because I know they would have gotten some good draft capital. But I really like Marvin Harrison Jr., so I'm glad they did. I mean, I could have gone either way as long as they got 1 and 3. But yeah, it's a lot of anxiety gone now. Now it's like we can just
I can relax and wait.
I can
on what we do.
Exactly. Can relax, let Monty put his chef's hat on and cook for the rest of the draft. So yeah, like I've seen some mocks with us taking Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton, late in the first round. And I'd really love that. Like I've been on board with that for a while. Like I think I've said in past live streams early in this process, like if I knew we got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jerzon Newton and as our first round picks, I'd be very excited about that.
Yeah.
So
was it Trevor Sycamore on the I can't remember. I think it was PNHX. He was on the other day, and he said if Monty Osfort comes out of this first round with the Cardinals with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Johnny Newton, he said that he would get like a Monty Osfort jersey because that's just a slam dunk first round. And I agree. I know there's the injury concerns with Johnny Newton, but he's my DT1, and I just think he'll address two needs: the defensive line and pass rush.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a look.
The pick's in.
All right.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, I'm really wrong.
Uh-oh. The look on your face says, oh, wait, I see. Okay.
Are you on the NFL or the ESPN?
I'm on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I'm watching the NFL stream.
I'm on, I've got on ABC.
Okay. I'm watching on YouTube TV, though, so who knows how that... So Dana's saying, so we haven't Marvin Harrison Jr. for the X.
He just saw it. That's great. That was my reaction too.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So we have Marvin Harrison Jr. for the X with Wilson the Z and George McBride as slot Y depending, and James Conner ready to bruise or catch out of the backfield. Fill an interior O-line later, and I'm very happy. Yeah. I think like they don't need to do a lot more with this offense. Like get a draft a get a running back on day 3 if you want to add some depth there. Get a tight end anywhere like day 2 or 3 for depth. It doesn't even need to be a highly draftable. Just get someone in the 4th or 5th round if you want. Add it into your offensive lineman, right? Add a developmental tackle. Like you do that, and that's all stuff you can address much later, obviously. And honestly, you don't even have to do all that. You can fill some of those places with free agency because there's another wave of free agency coming after the draft, right? So if they focused on the defense primarily for the rest of this draft with maybe a 4th round guard center, I'd be okay with that. So the Falcons didn't waste any time. The pick is in for the Falcons. So, all right. Now this is interesting, but yeah, Odunze's still there. A lot of people mocking him to Chicago. I could see that.
I think he's going to go to. Well, depends what I plan to do.
Catalog, where's the chat? It's right here. I don't know. Let's see. Chris saying I fully expect Atlanta to trade down either for Odunze or JJ. Okay. Well, it looks like the pick is in. So who do we think it is?
Latu.
Okay. So you think they're
I think it's Dallas Turner.
Okay. Dallas Turner has been
how he likes to drop into coverage. I think that serves Raheem Morris a bit better.
I mean, they need edge, right? That is the position, right, that they need more than anything else. So that seems like the pick. And I've heard a lot of people saying Latu is sliding because of the injury stuff. So I don't know. I would guess get Dallas Turner. I think that the injury, I think that just Latu's the more upside, but I think they're going to go with this guy who still is good, but it's a safer pick.
There was a lot that came out last night that was saying that the Falcons were enamored with Latu at 8. And of course it's line season the night before the draft, especially more than any other day, it could be complete nothing, but I don't know, something about it just stuck out to me. But then again, I was on the JC Latham to the Chargers thing for 2 months and that went nowhere. And I was on the Drake Made of Washington thing for like 3 months and obviously that went nowhere. So
yeah. All right. So Falcon selection is in. We should be seeing it anytime now. McCarthy sitting there waiting.
McCarthy wasn't one that went to the draft, was he? He's not. We're not going to have like a Rogers thing, right? With him in the green room.
No.
Okay.
They just
Latham forgot the fact that he had just had back surgery, hasn't he? Commissioner, like 3 years out back surgery. And he just gave him that massive bear hug.
Yeah. It's like our own Kyler Bird and his back surgery, right?
I was going to make a comment. Beat me to it.
Oh, man. So, yeah.
So, fun little story. I've got a cousin who, Arthur Blank, obviously he owns a few different businesses. He owns Home Depot. He also owns the PGA Superstore.
Okay.
My cousin set up the first one here in Arizona over on Country Club in Elliott. And then he did such a good job that Arthur flew him out. My cousin actually works in the corporate office in Georgia. And he was one of the execs that got flown out when Arthur flew like all of his top execs from all of his companies out to the Houston for the Super Bowl that year.
Oh, wow.
My cousin was one of them. And so I got a little soft spot in my heart for Atlanta. So I'm kind of, if Arizona's not doing well, they're the team. Them and Houston are the two teams that I kind of pull for. So I hope they do something good here.
Well, I live in Georgia, obviously a couple hours away from Atlanta. Oh yeah, I live in Southwest Georgia. I work at a university here, so yeah.
I knew you were in Arizona, but I didn't know you were in Georgia. That's cool.
Yeah. So I have friends who are Falcons fans and stuff, and I actually 2 seasons ago when the Cardinals played the Falcons, I went to that game here in Georgia. So, all right, the pick is in.
Oh my God! What did they do?
Spoilers.
Oh,
this is going to be big.
What?
Yeah, it is.
Wait. He's coming. Don't. I'm going to have to drop out.
Okay, no. I'm not going to tell you.
They've just gone Penix, haven't they? There we go. It's pick.
Wow.
You just gave Kirk how much money and then oh my God.
Wow. That is crazy. This, right, Brandon? This is the shocker, right?
There's the chaos.
Here we go.
That's what Vikings get for not giving us that picks.
What do you mean the Vikings are sitting there happy as a clam? JJ's still on the board.
Penix is 24? They've just given Kirk Cousins how many years? 3-year deal?
Yeah.
So if he plays out those 3 years, Penix will be 27 before he's even a starting quarterback.
I mean, at least, I'm not even a JJ fan, but that would have made more sense with his age. Like, oh my God. I don't get that one at all.
Check the old Twitterverse to see what they're saying on this one.
Okay, I need to mute my mic and camera here for a minute and stuff my face for 2 seconds, but I'll still here listening, and I just figured you guys don't want to see me shoveling Chipotle in my face here.
Okay.
Chicago's got to be a Dean's A. Oh my days! Wow.
That's crazy, right? Crazy, right, Jackie? Yeah. What just happened? JJ was a smokescreen, right? Wow.
That is huge.
I'll tell you what. I know some Vikings fans are really hopeful and excited right now.
I think they are.
But here's the thing though. Like, I don't know that this helps them as much as as I'm thinking right now though, because like no one expected Penix, at least outside, to go this early. But more importantly, no one expected Atlanta to take a quarterback.
No.
Right? So it's not like one of the teams that they were worried they were competing against, kind of went ahead of them. So
that's just
that's
crazy. That really is. I don't understand it. There was talks that Penix wasn't even going to be a first rounder.
Yeah.
Pick is in. Yeah, it's got to be a Dean's A.
Some people thought he might, but he was, yeah.
I wonder if this is going to put Bo Nix back into the first round.
Yeah. Cousins trade? I don't think so. I mean,
No,
you don't do that. Oh no, so I have a friend who's a Falcons fan. I texted him, just goes, wow, and he said, "I can't with this team. We are so stupid."
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, man. So yeah, Penix to sit behind Cousins is smart though. I mean, it is, I think, right? 10 for 10 offense to start. I mean, people talk about how this is gonna be a historic offensive draft, right?
So 9th pick and still no defensive players yet.
Right. Penix
And
more
10
mobile,
won't
but
be.
definitely a
11
pocket
won't be.
guy. Yeah, the Bears pick is in. So we think. I mean,
Dean's A.
I think it does. I could see, but they've got good receivers. I could see that a lot of people have mocked him there, so maybe he does. But I could also see them. Some people talk about Byron Murphy the second. I could see defensive player. This being a defensive spot. We'll see though.
It could be Bashani as well.
Yeah.
Tackle. He played with Caleb in high school. I don't know if that's going to be any sort of. He's back. He's back. And he's gone again. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yep. Okay.
There's 2 picks in the top 10.
Not gonna blow. I'm not gonna. But
Dean's A.
okay, you see it. So it is 10 for 10. Are we get? I mean, the Jets. You have to figure. Vikings are going to sit and get their guy.
I think Bears were lucky and they just sat there and now they've got their quarterback and future number 1 receiver on the same rookie deal. That's good. Let's see what the Jets do now. Do they go tackle or do they go? Got their tackles for them.
My good friend Kevin, as a less knowledgeable person, why was that Penix pick so crazy? Did they pick a quarterback that other teams wanted or something? Kevin, I'll let you kind of. Obviously we all have answers for this in this panel here, but I'll let you kind of start out answering. This is a good buddy of mine, Kevin, who lives in Texas. So why was the Penix trade so crazy?
The Penix pick is crazy because Atlanta have just paid a ridiculous amount of money to Kirk Cousins to play quarterback for them. And you could argue the fact that, they're in a position to take a quarterback to sit behind him and learn for the future. But
Minnesota just traded up to 10. So they traded with the Jets to make sure that no one, I think they wanted to make sure no one traded up ahead of them. I think they thought Denver or Oakland might try to trade up. So they did that to get their quarterback. I'm sorry. So go on.
Okay. So he just paid Kirk Cousins a ridiculous amount of money to play starting quarterback. You get Penix to sit behind him, but I think Penix is 24. I think he is because he had the extra year of eligibility, I think, because the COVID year. So even if he sits behind Kirk Cousins for the full length of his contract, he's going to be 27, maybe approaching 28 when he's even a starter. And it wasn't a position of need for them. You always reach for best player available, sure, but Penix wasn't the best player available for them at that time. They're desperate need of edge help. And they passed on that for the 2 top players in the draft at that position, any top position that player of that position in the draft. But it's just a very questionable pick, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
how many good edges can Atlanta pass on year after year after year after year?
Right. Yeah. So And I don't know if I didn't catch if you said this too, but it's not just that the fact that they took a quarterback was crazy.
4-year, 180 million.
Okay. So the fact that they took a quarterback at all was crazy because they just signed someone, right, who paid a big contract to. But it's also crazy is that like people didn't have this as the next quarterback going up the board. Right? JJ McCarthy was widely viewed as that fourth quarterback.
Oh my God.
So they went with someone different than people would have expected. So that's kind of doubly.
Yeah, 4th and a 5th for a 6th.
I missed it. What were the details on the trade?
So Vikings got 10th and a 6th round pick. The Jets got 11th, 4th, and a 5th.
And like the Vikings didn't have to give up 23. So Vikings still they get 2 first-round picks this year then.
Yep. Still stick with 23, which is why they didn't want to move up with us.
Now, how crazy would it be if the Vikings just traded up and it's not JJ McCarthy?
It is Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
Spooked by the talks of LA wanting to come up.
Yeah, that just pops in my head. I don't think the road pick surprises anyone really. I mean, those guys, him and Caleb were working out like all off season, so they knew.
Sorry, what was the trade compensation? I don't know what it is, but to move up one spot, I'm guessing it was like a 3rd round pick or something.
It was a 4th and a 5th.
Fourth and
for 11th and a 6th.
Okay. Gotcha.
So moved back one spot and picked up a 4th and a 5th and lost a 6th round pick.
Okay.
Which is I'll take that any day of the week.
Was it all in this draft, or was anything in the future?
This draft. Yeah.
This draft.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, James Conner, and Greg Dortch. All right.
And I'm so happy. His draft nerd and watching some of these. Like Marvin, I watched the moment he declared for Ohio State, like when he was still in high school. So I've been watching him for almost 4 years now. Going, man, wouldn't it be awesome if he was a Cardinal? And to actually be able to say today he is.
Yeah, it feels good to be able to, get that caliber of player. I think after every pick after the top 10, it'll be like, oh, are we coming up? Are we coming up?
I think Denver is the one that I'm looking at the most for us, just because. I mean, it's probably nothing, but just Sean Payton's comments about how envious he was of Monty. Monty's like, "Here, you want some of my capital? Let's trade."
Yeah, because I do think if we come up, who would be the prime candidates for it? And yeah, I think Denver maybe. They'd have to go back quite a bit, so it'd be quite a bit of compensation the other way.
And I think in my last mock, then I had us moving. Yeah, that or maybe something in the future, and then I had us moving back.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if we didn't see anything trading back in like the 2nd or 3rd this year. Like the 2nd in particular, I think it depends on how the board falls. If there's like some guys there in the 2nd at that pick, stay head first, round grades on. I don't think anything's going to happen, but.
Yeah, it like Jose, it was going so chalk there up until Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad something happened that was really interesting. To be fair.
Yeah. I just feel bad for I feel bad for Atlanta fans right now. I mean, even if Penix works out, like I said, when's it gonna work out? It just makes the thought process just doesn't seem to add up to me. If you're gonna do that, go with a 21-year-old. All right, here's the bite.
All right, so Vikings. I mean, this. If it's anyone other than McCarthy, right, then we've got a double wow, right?
Bonix.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that would be a little bit of a wow. If it's anyone other than a
Ultimate
quarterback, how about that? Yeah, smoke screen. All right, so all right.
You know, the Bears, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Roma Dunze. That's a pretty good receiver.
I mean, they've set their quarterback up, right? All right, here we go.
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit behind. I think I'll wait until the Denver pick and then I'll hop back off because I need to get something to eat which isn't chips and dip and candy.
Yeah, I had a bunch of cheese and crackers. Now I've got some grapes that I'm
There we go.
snacking on.
JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
Best situation for any rookie
I mean,
quarterback this year.
This played out as well as the Vikings could have hoped for, right? I mean, that's aside from trading up and getting May, which wasn't happening. So the Jets, right? We think it's Bowers here.
I think it's Bowers or Fuaga.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards Fuaga for them, but it could be Bowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could very well be Bowers because obviously they've want to probably load up on as many weapons as they can for Aaron Rodgers now, but at the same time, they do need a tackle. These edges are slipping.
I mean, you look at some of JJ's highlight plays, and he's definitely got some talent. It's just so little of it, like so little tape.
So Kevin is asking, Uber Kev, I'm curious, and you may have already said this before, what is your American football origin story and how and why did you get into the Cardinals of all teams?
Yeah, so I first got into it sort of when I was in college, when I was about 18, 19. It started to get a bit more exposure in the UK, and I just started paying attention to it, and I tuned in just at the start of the playoffs. And then there was one team that kept coming up, which was the Cardinals, it was our wild card year, it was our Super Bowl run. And everyone just kept saying that, because it was the wild card, like we were the underdogs, we shouldn't really be there because we had an atrocious season. And I just thought, I like an underdog. I'll pick the Cardinals. And I've been a Cardinals fan ever since.
And you indeed picked an underdog.
I did indeed. If I knew then what I do now.
But you're emotionally invested now, right? So
I'm emotionally invested. Yeah, I'm one of these guys who I'll never change my sports team. Like whenever I choose a sports team, I will always stick with them, like no matter what. So it's the same with soccer here as well. It's everything NFL. So
nice. One of my favorite television shows is Ted Lasso, and I just started rewatching that because I love that show.
It's
I
so good.
just so good. How accurate is the representation of football culture in that film? I know it's a comedy, but
Pretty big. Yeah, it's pretty big. It's
does it do a good job of depicting what fandom is like there?
it does in a parody way, which makes
Yeah.
it so accurate. I think that's what's so good. It's if you go into any sort of pub on a Saturday or a Sunday when there's like Premier League on or any sort of league, it's always the same.
Yeah, I love that show. I love his character because, like, I've described it as an ode to kindness. Like, he's just always kind, and he's even when people aren't being kind to him. So, I guess Broncos could maybe have wanted JG. I think Knicks is a better fit. Yeah. Raiders will wait for Rattler or something with Daniels gone. Maybe, yeah. So the Jets.
I think Denver's going to be the first trade back. We're going to see a big trade back. Obviously, I know the Vikings just traded up one spot, but
right to bail out of that spot. And I'll tell you what. So the pick is in. 11 offensive players in a row. Is that right?
Yep, has been a defensive player. Yeah, all the corners are on the board, all the edges are on the board, both D tackles.
This is shaping up really well
Obviously,
for
a very poor linebacker class
for the Cardinals who need defensive help, right? I mean, wow. So, yeah, no defensive in the players in the draft, I guess, right?
Wow.
Can you imagine though if the Vikings say put and miss on JJ by one pick, it was worth the trade up? No, I think the trade up was smart by them because they had to know someone else was willing to do that.
Especially when you'd had talks about having to give up 11, 23, a future first, and like a third or a fourth to give up a fourth and a fifth.
Yeah,
one spot. It's just
what little they had to give up to do that. You do that 6 times a week and twice on Sunday, right? To make sure you get your quarterback. Absolutely.
Especially because all the talk is that after the 4th round, the talent falls off. So you gave up a 4th rounder and a 5th rounder. It's like, ooh.
If you're Denver, do you trade back at this point? You could have any pick of any corner.
Well, the pick is in, so they're not doing that. But there's 2 ways of thinking, right? You can get the best defensive player in the draft, right? Sticking and getting the best defensive player in the draft, or you can trade back. But I think with the quarterbacks gone the way they are, I think there's not as much demand to trade up, right? I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know that they're going to get much in terms of an offer that they would like, right? So
I think the trades that happen now, if they happen, are going to be for wide receivers for those teams in the back end that want their guy.
Yeah. I still think. In fact, the way it's played out, I have to wonder if it's even more likely that the Cardinals are going to try to trade up. If they can move up into the teens for a 3rd round pick to get one of the top 2 cornerbacks or top 2 edge rushers, you have to wonder if they're going to do that.
What they're going to do. I mean, yeah, we're pick 12, almost halfway through the draft.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so we've got the 5 quarterbacks. Do we think Bo Nix goes in the 1st round? Or do you think?
I think Denver was his bet. Well, it depends what Vegas want to do now.
Yeah. Does someone try to trade back in? But maybe someone trades in the back end of the 1st round to get that 5th-year option on the quarterback, though.
Yeah, I could see the Giants coming up if they really like Nick.
Talks that. Oh yeah, the Giants, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that obviously Washington were talking about wanting to get back into the 1st.
Who's the best cornerback and edge? The Cardinals should get one of those. Obviously, there's a little bit of debate. So maybe, Andrew, why don't you start with who you think the best are at those positions, and then Kevin tell us who you think the best are.
It's edge. Any of the top 3
is the best edge. Like pure pass rusher is Latu, but in terms of edge, I'd say it's Turner because I think he can play both and against the run and against obviously the pass rush corner. I think that's that's a tough one, but I'd probably say it's hard to say because you could say level of competition, but Quinion Mitchell still went up against,
Yeah.
he still went up against Marv, and he still played good competition. But I think I'd probably edge it to Arnold as corner CB1, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Andrew?
As far as edge goes, like I could see any of the three. I mean, I don't love any of them, but Latu's my favorite. It's just a question on the medicals. But
Yeah.
I've said it before, his speed to counter is the best in the class by far. As far as corner, again, there's none of them are Christian Gonzalez. None of them are Devin Witherspoon from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Quinion probably is the best, but honestly, I think the best fit for us in terms of what we're looking for are going to be guys that are in the second, third round. Bernardo Green, Kyrie Jackson, or Cam Hart. I want one of those three guys.
Yeah.
With the big body.
Yeah, I think when you look at the edge and the corner class, I think both are similar in that and this is probably not unique to this year, there's the higher upside pick and then there's a safer pick, and who you think is the best corner or edge depends on your risk aversion, right? Your risk tolerance. If you want the edge who is the best pure pass rusher, it's probably Latu. But if you want the player who is still very good, but you feel safer he's going to play, it's Dallas Turner, right? Doesn't have the injury risks. If you at cornerback, if you want the upside, right, it's Quinion Mitchell probably. But if you want kind of the guy who's played in the SEC and has been really good, right, it's Terrion Arnold, right? And then there's our argument for Cooper DeJean. So it's kind of, how do you want upside, floor or ceiling, I guess, right? So.
And I do think Kool-Aid's got a little bit of a bad rap. I think he's a little underrated. Like, I know he didn't have some of the stats, some of the numbers, but if you look, again, the one that I cling to is in 2022, he was targeted 80 times. And in 2023, he was targeted 39 times. That's how well he did. The teams just would not throw to him.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Everyone knocks his tape from this year, but that's because they never threw to him because.
Yeah.
Well, I know I tweeted, or I think I tweeted someone else who had him going to the Ravens, and I said, "This is the absolutely the typical Ravens pick, a guy who the fans and the narratives are cooled on him, and the Ravens just sit there and they take a solid football player, right? And then years later, you're like, Ravens are such a good drafting team. How do they do it? Right? They just take those guys. So." And Ravens like taking cornerbacks in the first round too. They've got a lot of them on their roster. First round cornerbacks. Yeah. So 100%. So I think Kool-Aid to Baltimore just makes so much sense. We'll see, right?
Denver going to be the first defensive player. Are we finally going to get a defensive player here?
I mean, what offensive player? Bowers is the only one that would be left. That would make sense at this point. The look on your face. So I'm about to see.
I'll tell you this: we got our answer.
Wow.
Oh, okay, there you go.
If I were the Cards, I'd want a guy that can play cornerback one this year and a pure pass rusher. Thanks. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
This dancing. If it's Bo Nix, I will.
Oh. What will you do?
I'm just waiting. There it is.
Okay.
Oh my
Half of the picks have been quarterbacks. Do you get that? 6 of 12. Half of the picks have been quarterbacks.
If you are in need of a tackle, a corner, you must be laughing right now. Oh my God. Pick 12.
I mean, we needed one. I would have said wide receiver with them, possibly training
everybody. I'm so glad that we dodged that bullet. I was actually asking for Sean Payton at one point as well. I'm Vic Fangio, but I was one of the people who's like, he's a good coach if we can get him, but I was like, you know what? Let's be okay with the coordinator. Because I was I wouldn't say I wasn't in favor of Sean Payton, but I was much more with what we'd have to give up for him potentially. So perfect fit for Broncos. Okay. Dana he is a good fit. He is a good fit. I just don't know if he's a first round talent.
Yeah.
all the Denver fans were like really in on the idea of them waiting until next year to go after Shadur Sanders. And I'm like, Shadur Sanders, really? Like Sean Payton just got rid of Russell Wilson. You think they're gonna go after
the cap?
Yes, he's gonna go and spend a first round pick on the son of Dion, who literally said he's gonna Eli this thing? No, not happening.
I'll tell you what, and I know we've said this really bodes well for the Cardinals to pick 27.
This is going really well for us because I'd say I have no idea what Vegas are going to do now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, expect a run on defensive players, no doubt. But bottom line is every quarterback that goes beyond ahead of the first four that went now is one more defensive player that's going to fall to us, right?
Yeah.
Right. Who wouldn't have been there otherwise.
And you have to think there's also going to be the odd wild card in this first round as well. There's bound to be a team who have got a player that they're enamored with, who most people will have at the back end of the first or even in the second.
Right. I mean, do we see a running back even? Right. No one's thinking a running back goes first round, but every year, let's just say every year, but a lot of years they surprise us, right?
Raiders come away with one of the top edges, and then they've got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins.
I mean, imagine being at pick 13 and getting the best defensive player in the draft. Right, that's what's happening. Unless they go offense again, we'll see. I mean, we all knew this would be a heavy offensive draft. People have been talking about that for a while. So, but it is shocking to me that no defensive players have gone. You would have figured Atlanta, right? Atlanta's the biggest surprise, right there. Tackles start taking. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see more tackles going.
We've got Fawaga still there, Fatanu, Mims, Guyton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, there's a few others that might slip into the first round, like Morgan, right?
Paul.
Yeah. Patrick Paul, right? Yeah. That's a guy who could get up in there.
Wow. It's in. It makes sense. Kind of. Actually, does it?
Wow, 13 offensive players.
Yeah. They have,
crazy.
I can't say it yet.
Until Fawaga, Bowers, Mims, Guyton, Barton, Brian Thomas Jr. all still on the board at 13. That's crazy.
Until Kev says it, I can't see it. But, oh, man, that one's good. Because didn't they just, last year? Didn't they just address that?
Didn't they just get...
Thank you.
The guy from Notre Dame last year, or the year before. Mayer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to start running 12 personnel.
Who's their coach now? Oh, Pierce.
Yeah.
I could see him running 12.
Wow. Okay. That is probably... I think New Orleans will go tackle now. I think
Indianapolis has. They could go wide receiver, but I think they go corner.
Or they might even go. I think a lot of things for Xavier Worthy as well has risen up boards.
I said for Colts, wide receiver or corner.
Nix has the best accuracy and rhythm. He can get in trouble on the scramble, but he's a pocket quarterback. Guru's pocket quarterback, not the rocket Penix, but accurate deep ball. Okay.
I don't know if he has an accurate deep ball though. I don't know. He throws it up there and the guys go get it, but is he really accurate with it?
Yeah, I don't know. Kevin saying they should trade up, walk away with the best wide receiver and cornerback of the draft. Like in my mock draft that I posted, that's what I had them more or less doing. If you think Terry and Arnold's the best cornerback, but I had them trading up to pick. Was it with the Bengals pick 18, I think, yeah, and taking Terry and Arnold. So though I think edge rusher. The more I look at it and think about the way Monty, I think, is going to approach the draft, I think edge is a more likely first round trade up scenario, even though I mocked at cornerback because, Andrew, you mentioned that the cornerbacks that really fit them better are more second, third round kind of guys. And you look at the almighty chart heat map here, second and third round is a sweet spot for cornerbacks for them. So we'll see. So the Saints are still on the board. What do we think?
They're
If it's
listening to
anything
trade
other
offers
than-
right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they pick and
Okay.
it's anything other than a tackle, I'll be shocked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tackle or a trade out. Because I think maybe the Eagles is going to try and come up and get a corner.
Okay. That would make a lot of sense, right? OT
wonder-
run now. I think we're going to have a defensive player run now. I think there'll be an defensive tackle mixed in there, but
I think Jacksonville will probably go receiver if they can. Brian Thomas, perhaps.
They
I
could
think
also
Bengals
look
will
to
go
trade for a
D-tackle,
league.
Rams will go edge or tackle, D-tackle.
Andrew, who was it you said they could also look at?
Jacksonville is also rumored to be one of the teams linked to Ayuk,
For the trade, yeah.
so that could be something to look out for there too.
But then you'd also have to kind of think, like, for how much. Obviously, it saw that AJ Brown just got the extension as well before the draft started. If they trade for him and use it first, the amount that they'd have to sign him down when they're trying to get Trevor Lawrence down on the new contract as well.
And they're already paying Kirk a boatload of money.
Yeah.
But they definitely want receiver because they were going hard for Ridley before Tennessee moved in. So
I think they'll go for if they've got two
That's right.
spots. So yeah, I think Philly are trying to come up right now. It's kind of scary to the fact that you can now see Arizona on the next list, and we haven't had any defensive players yet.
I'll second this. Dana always has good. Dan, if you're not writing or doing something Cardinals wise, you should be doing something. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
third
Yeah.
is that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at least 5 more OTs in the first round. Could be. Yeah.
This is falling really well for us because if you think, it depends if you see Jackson Powers Johnson as a first rounder or not.
Yeah.
But you got Barton, JPJ, Mims, Guyton, Patanu. Who else am I missing? Awaga. That's 6 tackles. And we're picking 13 spots. It's looking pretty good.
This could not have fallen any better for us.
Well, so what? I'm sorry. I know we probably said this. I've been going between chat and Twitter, but what do we think for the Saints here?
If they get a trade, I think it'll be to Philly. If they don't, I think they'll take tackle.
Okay, Andrew.
Still don't see a defensive player coming off yet.
Yeah.
I don't until maybe Seattle. I think Seattle will go corner.
Yeah. With all the great corners still on the board. So the pick is in. So they're picking. Brian, thank you so much. Let's go. So happy. Best night ever. You're the man, Joe. Hopefully we get a killer defensive player, maybe trade up even. And I think we're going to get a really good defensive player here. Whether it's a trade up or not.
We've got a really good chance of. I think the only 2 teams really that could be a risk would be the Rams and the Bengals. But I think we've got quite a good chance potentially.
Are the Rams going to get Byron Murphy without having to trade up?
Looks like it. Well, no, Cincinnati picked before them. I think they might even go for Latu. Or no, actually,
they also need a tackle.
He might go for someone like Jared Verse.
He's more of a Trey Hendrick. He's got the body type that's more similar to Trey Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
But they could also use offensive tackle too because they lost Jonah.
That's the donor, yeah.
Dana's saying right now I'm the caretaker for an ill relative, so I'm very limited in my free time. I've watched as much film as I can this year. Well, Dana, if you ever want to get involved in anything podcasting and stuff, I would be happy to help in any way I can to help you find a platform. So once it's all I've had working in, I can start trying to write or stream or something. So, well, Dana, reach out to me when you're ready to do that, and I'll do whatever I can to help you find the right place for that. I love helping people get their stuff going and, whatever way I can. So just let me know. So, you definitely know your stuff. Oh, we've got Brandon. What is up?
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
We're there today.
Thought I'd hop on. A couple division rivals coming up.
Oh, right. So we can talk some trash about them and their picks, right?
Maybe jump in front of LA for a defensive tackle.
That'd be nice. If we can piss in their Cheerios, I'm always happy to do that.
What was it? Oh, what was it when the Eagles traded up for Goddard, right? They traded up ahead of Dallas, one pick ahead of them, right?
Uh-huh.
On the phone to Cincinnati right now, like, I've got these nice third round picks. If you fancy one, let's.
Man, it'd be something if the trade that I predicted actually ends up being the one that happens, but we'll see. All right, so Saints pick is in. Is it in for you, Andrew?
Yeah, it's in.
The look on your face tells me it's not a crazy pick. Yeah, it's like
Right.
it's not like.
Yeah.
All right, it's okay. It's one of the positions y'all talked about.
Okay. Patani.
Right church, wrong pew.
Oh, okay.
Even the right first last letter.
Oh, Fuaga, yeah.
I mean, Penning is let's just be honest. Penning was not good, and Ramczyk looks like he's playing on half a leg. So
Yeah. All right. Man, so many good defenders still there.
Indy.
what do we have? 14 straight offensive players.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Crazy.
15 now as well, I reckon.
Yeah. So you think, what are we thinking for the Colts here? Brandon, you're first. Do you have any thoughts on what you think the Colts are going to do?
Brian Thomas, maybe another
Yeah,
weapon for AR-15.
That's a good
that's
call.
my shot too.
You think so, Kevin? What about you, Andrew?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll go off the board. I'll go Quinion. Sorry.
Okay.
Just something different out there.
I mean, yeah, I'll go with the receiver too. I don't have a strong feeling on that one, but that makes a lot of sense. Add a deep threat. You're trying to get your quarterback to succeed. Maybe the wild card is that they like a different receiver better, like Adonai Mitchell, right? That's
Mitchell, yeah.
Ballard does love the relative athletic score, so maybe that's what he goes after.
Yeah. His family shirt's on, so cute. Nice. So that could be, though I've also heard that reports that some teams have Mitchell off their boards for some reason. I don't know. Is it injury or is there something else?
I think it's more character motor type issues. He
Okay.
came out and said at the combine, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't run all my routes at full speed."
Okay.
I could see Worthy here, like you said
I've
too.
seen who it is.
You've seen who it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, so the shoes reversed now.
Yeah.
It's just it's one of those fun things where I always try and stay off Twitter until the pick's made. But
Yeah.
This is the one time where I went on there and I could see who it was.
Kevin's got a better poker face than Andrew, though. So okay, I'm just going to Twitter.
Just the crazy.
Sorry, take that back because this person's just trolling.
Yeah.
This person's just trolling because the pick's not even in yet.
All right, so maybe it isn't okay.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because once they were talking on the radio today, when it says the pick is in, the pick's been turned in for like 4 or 5 minutes before that. That's like Schefter usually gets those things right because somebody along the way of the transport of the cards tweets him before the commissioner gets
That
up
was
there.
like who's it? Ari. I was following Ari for a bit before on Twitter, and he was like posting out who the teams were picking like 2 minutes before the pick was even announced, and I was like, I can't deal with that. Like,
I think that was the DJ Humphreys year was the first time I realized that was the thing, and my buddy was just spoiling every pick. I'm like, shut up.
Quite a lot of time. They ruin a trade.
So still see the clock going down for the Colts.
Yeah, maybe they're working something for Ayuk last minute.
My buddy Kevin, who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Joe, I know you hate Dallas, but I'm curious who your panelists think the Cowboys will take at 24.
The running back.
Running back, yes. If I'll tell you what, if a team would take a running back, I wouldn't doubt it'd be them. Brand, what do you think the Cowboys are going to take?
Great question. I think they've got to go line, even with the uncertainty around Dak. I think push in for this year.
Yeah. What do you think, Andrew?
I think Guyton is the name that I've heard linked to them the most.
Yeah.
Definitely offensive line, I think.
He's a very Cowboys pick.
Yeah. I mean, there depends on how many offensive linemen are off the board, though. At that point, I get the best ones. But offensive line makes a lot of sense. I mean, they could go interior offensive line, right? Maybe they go for their team goes for a center, right? So the Colts pick is in.
I wonder if it'll be. Per Daniel Jeremiah, the Falcons didn't give Kirk Cousins a heads up that they were selecting Michael Penix.
Whoopsies. I mean,
you botched this so badly.
Yeah. I will say he's not going to be someone who's going to he's going to handle it better than one Aaron Rodgers, I think. I'll just say that. But yeah.
I wonder if this will be an edge.
I mean, I could see this being a defensive player, right? I mean, if they're looking at their board, the way their board is stacked, to get the best defensive player in the draft at 15, the value might be too appealing to pass on that at 15.
I really would be on the phone to Bengals right now.
Yeah,
try to work something out
for that tackle that they want.
Monty.
Oh, if you're Monty, okay, yeah. So let's see who it is.
There it is. Wow. Okay. Bye.
Wow. Okay.
I'm surprised he was the first.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too because of what we talked about before. I don't want to. Chris asking, can you imagine if Monty tried to get Turner? That would be. I'd lose my mind. That'd be awesome.
There were talks that it was falling.
Could you imagine if he got him at 27 without trading up?
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that happens. Right, 27. He'd have to trade up, right? Kevin, have you seen the pick yet?
This is now.
Okay.
It's edge, isn't it? Called it.
You thought that's who you thought it was?
I said I didn't think it would be Latu. I did say I think they might go edge rather than receiver.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, finally a defensive player, right?
And
so we think Seahawks are going cornerback here, right? Unless they go for. I mean, I could see them going edge.
Where's the cornerback to Seattle thing coming from?
I don't know. Get someone to pair with Witherspoon.
Yeah, of the Wooten. Yeah,
Yeah, they got Wooten and they got their slot guy was pretty good. Like I could see him going into the interior or
interior,
yeah. I don't think they need another corner right now. Not in the
Yeah.
first game.
That's
I
what
think
was seeing there's a lot of corner linked to Seattle, but
Yeah, there's just a
they
lot
did
of
want to
mocking
trade
of
back. I
that.
just don't think they probably imagined the board would fall as it has.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, first defensive player off board, one with medical concerns. Wow. But
I mean, he had to have cleared at the combine. Like it had to have checked out really well.
I mean, yeah, I would think. Yeah, can't imagine being the first. Like if you're, I don't know, unless you're just really wanting to go upside and you're, but like, yeah, you still have Turner on the board who may not be as good, but is still really good. If so. All right. So Seattle.
I'm happy because,
Burst
like you
is
said,
still there. Turner's still there. You got the 2 D tackles. You got Chop, but I've made my feelings quite clear on Chop before.
You're not big on Chop?
I'm not big on Chop. No. He's got probably arguably the best first step, but I think if he's like willing to be coached and coached into that edge rusher and like display that sort of variety of like pass rush moves, I think he could be a good player.
Yeah.
I just think he's very boom or bust.
I think we talked about this on one of the streams, Kev, on when you were on Joe's channel. It is Braylon Trice. I think I am more interested in than Chop Robinson's like pressure machine.
He gets there.
It reminds me just too much of Trayvon Walker, the physically gifted edge who has the tools but like didn't produce. And Walker's still young. He might still develop, but yeah.
He did have a good year last year, Walker.
Yeah. But he's not lived up to the first overall pick. Right? So yeah.
I was sharing my conspiracy theory about that with Brian and Kyler last night, saying that I feel like a not maybe the deciding factor, but a like factor in that decision from Balky had to do with his irrational hatred for Jim Harbaugh and not wanting to give Jim Harbaugh the feather in the cap of having the number 1 pick in Hutch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think that was the thing that like said this is why I'm doing it, but it may have been like, well, there is this other factor here.
Like a third order factor, right? It was enough to kind of oh man. So Seattle's still on the board. On mine, the clock is still counting down, so they haven't.
I wonder if they do go.
Yeah. Where's all these trades we were promised, right? Supposedly there were going to be a ton of trades. Now we still might get some, but it's just only one, right? Man.
But we had some craziness even without the trades.
Yeah, there's been craziness, certifiable craziness, but the trade part has not been a thing, right?
The only downside for this now is the fact that if Seattle go for one of the D tackles and then the Rams go for one of the top edges, we're then going to have 2 arguably great players that go against twice a year again now.
Yeah, for sure. Dan is saying Latu depends too much on the snatch and swim to the inside. Some games he used it exclusively. I did go back and find some other games where he was more diverse in his pass rush. Yeah. I mean, I think, it's very rare you have a player who has no warts, so to speak, right? If you do, then it's Will Anderson, right? Like he was the rare, fully developed, fully formed, and elite athlete, right? And then, so if they are that, then they go top 5, right? But if you're at this point, you're going to have some limitation, right? So, yeah, I really like his bend when he uses it. Yeah. So
there were moments last year, and I can't remember specific games now. It's been a while since I've watched the tape on him, but where out of all of them, he looked the most like an NFL player.
Okay.
Verse had those moments in 22. He did have some in 23, but then there were times like the Clemson game is the perfect, I think, verse in a microcosm was the Clemson game. The first half, he was almost unblockable. And then the second half, he just did nothing.
Right. reorganize my screens a little bit. There we go.
I still can't believe we're at pick 16 and there's no corners gone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, we knew it was going to be a weaker QB class just looking at it from last year. But I don't think anybody expected it to be, like I said, where we're at now. It's pick 16 and none off the board.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, at this point last year, we were looking at Kalen King in conversations with QB1, not QB or CB11. So.
Right. Oh, man. All right. So Seattle pick is in. I think there's some conversation in the Discord. Seattle, someone's doing a little spoilers in there. All right.
I said I was going to jump off after pick 10, but I'm just so intrigued to see how this is all falling now. So I think I'll just stay put.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm probably going to go at least till the Cardinals pick. I don't know if we'll go stream the whole thing
until we pick if we trade up or if we get that.
Yeah, we'll probably end the stream after the Cardinals pick. But yeah. Whew.
I'm actually really excited to get back on Twitter and see some of the reaction to some of this.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see Falcons Twitter meltdown.
Oh man, I got some friends who
are
already having a hard time with that. So yeah.
I want to see the reactions under their post for the pick.
Oh, it's just wild. Mine's still blown by that one.
Oh, God,
all right, so what do we think? Brandon, what do you think the Seattle pick is?
I kind of make the Troy Fautanu connection.
Okay.
Washington's OC comes over. They lose Damian Lewis to Carolina. Geno, I think, is a win-with quarterback, so it makes sense to give him as much help as possible.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Mike McDonald there now, they could definitely go defense too.
Okay. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't think it will be corner. I think it will be edge or one of the two D tackles.
Okay. Andrew, what do you think?
I'm with Brandon. I mean, my mock draft is all my mocks are beyond shot at this point, but that would be one of the three that I got right if it's Fautanu. So I'm going to stick with that because why not?
Right. Okay. Yeah, They drafted two tackles a couple of years ago that are both starting. Do you think it's just Fautanu, a guy who might move inside to guard?
Charles Cross, didn't they?
Cross, and then I forget the other night, but they drafted another guy who's also started for them at right tackle in the
Abe Lucas. Is that right?
Lucas, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think he.
So,
I think he could play.
If they're going to kick him inside, then maybe that makes sense. We're about to find out, though. Uh-oh. Well, so I think they took someone that you were hoping the Cardinals would have a chance at.
It's more so not wanting to have to face this person.
Oh, well, this is someone I wouldn't have minded the Cardinals taking, but
yeah.
Okay.
But at least it keeps them out of another situation we were talking about. So.
Yeah. Do we know if Tony Khan is in a neck brace yet?
I'm one of the few people who probably gets that joke, Dana. I swear to God, I hope so. He better sell it. You better sell that all the way.
Yeah. All right.
It's a wrestling thing. Sorry, guys.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't get it. Okay, that's. I don't mind that I don't get it then. I'm very content with not getting that.
Byron Murphy.
So Tony Khan, obviously, is Shad Khan's son, who owns AEW, and they did a whole angle where he got last night, and he was going to be at the draft today. So all the fans were saying he better be there with the neck brace and keep selling.
There's a trade. Vikings
So Minnesota ends up trading
Minnesota.
Trading and pick. Okay, the pick is in too. They trade and picks. So, what do we think they're moving up here for?
Edge.
You think
Johnny.
Edge? Ooh, okay. When I had Nick on, we did the mock draft Monday, right? And elite edge was a need for them, right? But also receiver. I wonder if they're coming up for Brian Thomas. Like I know they got Jetta, but
They got Jetta, they got Addison, they got Osborne.
they could. Jetta obviously, and Addison's nice, but Osborne. I'm just saying receiver's an outside possibility, but I think edge is the thing that makes the most sense. But it would not shock me if they moved up because like Thomas is that next receiver off the board, right? So
it's probably a little too crazy to be Powers Johnson or something like that.
Yeah. You wouldn't think they would move up for a center, right? They could wait till they could get one of the two best at their pick 23. So I think it's either edge. It would make sense to go up and get the next best edge, right?
Mm-hmm. Or they see Murphy go and jump up for Newton.
Yeah.
First thought, yeah.
Who knows? I think Newton's going to last a little longer than that because of the injury stuff. But yeah, trade. Do they need a corner? They have a lot of corners. They could use an elite one but they've invested in corners. So let's see.
They made the pick, but they're not showing the name on the board. I don't know these guys well enough to know who that is.
Right. I see his lime green suit.
Arnold?
Turner.
Oh, that's Dallas. Okay.
All right. So they're having issues with the graphics on ESPN. They just showed the Jaguars pick graphic for a second.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there we go. They went with Dallas Turner.
Interesting. They signed Jonathan Grenard and now have that running mate.
Yeah.
They're like, well, nobody can replace Danielle Hunter, so we'll replace him with two guys.
Right. No, I like it for them. You get a guy that a lot of people, myself included, thought was going to go at pick 8, right? So now we have the Bengals are taking that offensive lineman, though, right? You think?
We see what the trade compensation was for that.
I haven't. Have you?
No, not yet.
Trying to stay off of Twitter anymore, right?
Jaguars get 23, a 5th this year, a 3rd and a 4th in 25. It's quite a bit.
That's quite a bit.
How do you think the new tackling rules this year impact the draft? Could that be why it's so offensive heavy? Probably unrelated, right? Yeah, I don't think it's the rules, right? I think it's just the way that the draft class is stacked, right? And it's perceived as a good quarterback class, right? So that always does that. So I don't think it's the rules.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of talking about this being an offense-heavy class before that was ever even announced. So I don't think it's.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I think, honestly, I think there's a year lag with new rules where teams get a sense of how they'll play out. I actually think the thing that's going to impact the draft more is the kick return rule. You're going to have some running back return men that might have been late day 3 picks who might go a little earlier, like 4th or 5th round instead of 6th or 7th round, right? or maybe even running backs who are really good for that might go earlier. Yeah, we'll see though. So we think the Bengals stick and pick, right? Because that offensive lineman's there.
Probably. I mean, I could see them going with defensive line, given everything that they're going through right now. But I think tackle makes more sense for them.
Yeah.
Tackle.
Dana's saying if you look at the actual rule, it's only the hip drop that rolls up on the leg, which is illegal. We will see how it is enforced. Yeah. And I think there's been a little I don't know, some of the discourse around that rule has been a little kind of little in error, I think. Like it's not all of those tackles. It's a certain ones, right, that are dangerous. So we'll see though how they enforce it. That's always the tricky part. So, all right. So someone's saying the pick is in for Cincinnati, at least in the Discord. So we've got, I don't know. So let's see. So I want to try to get a sense of the best who's going to be available in the Cardinals pick if they don't trade. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks before us, right? And then if we go to the draft, the best available, right? Like Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Fatanu, Verse, Barton, DeJean, Chop Robinson. So 1, 2, 3.
It's looking pretty good without even having to trade. And if that means, we actually end up using those 3 third rounders, then
when you look at
very nice spot.
When you look at some of the best available, at least on ESPN's board, which isn't necessarily what I always go by, but like the first, once you get past that first 10, there's some guys that I think could still go higher. Like they have, A.D. Mitchell is their 14th best, right? And Darius Robinson's 15th best, and Tyler Guyton is their 17th. And those tackles and receivers are probably going to, be a little overdrafted. So you could absolutely see some of those guys go up and push back some of the guys we really like. So I'm really hoping we get Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton. Yeah,
It's interesting to see what LA do next, though.
Yeah, I've liked him for a long time. I didn't mock him because I thought to do something different, but
okay, I think I've just seen the Bengals pick. Stay off my phone, Kevin.
It's always hard to say during these commercial breaks. It's like I don't care.
It's the only thing, because obviously we don't get this in the UK on like sports with like commercial breaks. It's usually just the full broadcast of the game or whatever. So when I got into NFL, I had to really get used to the
having to get used to American capitalism. You're welcome, right? Yeah. What's funny, like my kids, they're about to turn 12 and 9, and they don't call them commercial, they call them ads, right? Because that's the internet thing, right? They're ads, and you try to skip them, right? So we grew up though they were commercials. At least, do you call them commercials or advertisements in the UK?
I actually call them adverts.
Adverts, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we called them commercials growing up, and now my kids just call them ads. So. But the idea that that you don't just have everything streaming on demand is foreign to them. Like the idea that if I wanted to watch cartoons, I had to get up and watch them when they were airing, right? So, what is up, Corey? What is up, Joe? MHJ is ours, 100%. We are excited. We are stoked, 100%.
Now the only thing I'm bummed about is that, dude. Sign your NFLPA deal so we can buy your damn jersey.
Right.
I would have already bought it.
I reckon Mr. Bidwell's probably like, as soon as he turns up out of that car at the facility tomorrow, he'll be like,
"Hey, can I hand you a pen here? I got a pen right here. Can you just Oh my goodness. So the Bengals pick is in. We think it's the guard tackle. I have a friend who does Josh Butts. He's in our live stream sometimes, and he does a podcast, No Butts About Him. He's a Bengals fan, and I saw him tweeting, really hoping to get offensive tackle. So, although they have him listed as a guard, and it was just something to protect Burrow, right?
Is that Barton?
Well, Troy Fatanu on ESPN, they listed him as a guard. Interesting enough.
I mean, yeah, there's been his arm length, and there's been some questions. But I think at the combine when he did, I mean, I would feel comfortable with him at tackle, but
yeah, is number 18 currently available in terms of roster jersey number? I think so. Unless they're. Oh, that's right. Oh. And that's a very important number to him, because
of captain's number at LSU.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Dang it, I should have said it too. I had the pick too. Damn.
Oh, it was in your head?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, that totally makes sense. So the guy who's definitely playing that position, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of upside.
I haven't announced it on mine yet, but like I said, I think I saw who it was. So
yeah, I mean it's the position we were talking about. It's just the guy who there's less question about whether he's going to move inside or not. He's playing tackle. So
I was really high on him until the combine, and when we got injured again, I was like, I'm worried about his
yeah, he's definitely
size and everything.
Yeah. Oh.
It's always a concern of his in college as well, anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had 2 of them in college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, huge upside, like absolute mammoth of a man, but it's just the injury concerns.
All right.
So it's a very Bengals pick.
Yeah.
No line.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, so we got the Rams on the board.
For the first time since 2016 or whatever it was.
Right?
1998, as I said earlier.
Yeah. I saw someone, I forget who it was, tweeting like, and they're going to trade because they hate first round picks. They're going to trade back, right, for second rounds or whatever. So what do we think? We think edge? Like, is Jared Verse the next guy up on edge?
I'm not sure, actually, to be honest.
I mean, there's cornerbacks.
If they take Johnny Newton, we riot.
Yes. I mean, I already have reasons to hate the Rams, right? This just adds to it, right?
If we have to face Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton 4 times a year now.
Oh, crap. Oh, yeah. That better not be the deal. Oh, my goodness.
I might push guard up my my list of wants a little bit more up to 35. If that
yeah, right.
He's still sat there. I think it might be like, hello.
Just got the 27 done.
Like it's getting Monty to go against the almighty chart, right? Like, well, maybe I'll reconsider the almighty chart since we've got these interior defensive linemen out of block. Just when we thought, Aaron Donald retired, but now we just restock, right? Oh man. So what do we think the Rams do here?
I think Johnny. I hate to say it, but I'm going with Johnny.
I think they're going to go cornerback. I think because really great cornerbacks are still on the board, they do have Kobe Turner. They can get another defensive lineman later, and I think they're going to look at this board and say, "Wow, the best, most of the best cornerbacks are all. There's one been taken so far. Is that right?
None.
Oh, Quinion's not. No, he didn't come off the board. Right. So, like, the best cornerbacks.
Quinion's still there.
Yeah.
Still there. Kool-Aid's there. Cooper DeJean's still there.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I could definitely see it being Johnny Newton, but
What if they go receiver?
I mean, they could. You don't look at. You wouldn't think they need one, but they could certainly do that.
I mean,
But the Falcons need a quarterback?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point. No, I wouldn't. I could see it. Yeah, absolutely. You think it'd be Brian Thomas if that's the case? But I'm going to say cornerback though. And I don't really know which one I think is the best scheme fit for them, but I'm going to probably say Quinion.
McVay didn't seem too happy. It's got to be defense.
So the pick is in. Okay, so I'm saying Quinion Mitchell. That's my guess. All right. Dana's saying Mims should be a mauler on the right side with his size, but I don't see him playing like a mauler. Robert teachable. I've said it before. Get him in yoga or ballet and get stretching the hamstrings. Okay.
Really good point. Like
Yeah.
he's way more like a technical kind of finesse player than you'd expect.
For a guy that size. Interesting.
Yeah, some of it, like his run blocking is the thing that could use the most work. It's weird.
That's almost the opposite of Orlando Brown then.
Right. All right, so the Rams pick is in.
Okay.
I'm really not that I'm not that upset about that. Like
Me neither.
Ooh, the suspense.
Not anyone I was looking for the Cardinals to take, right? So to me, that's a win for the Cardinals, right? It's one more player off the board. I wouldn't have minded. It's a position need, but it's not, the players I'm really hoping we land, right? That he's not one of them. So they're still there for me. So what's Pittsburgh doing here?
Calling San Francisco, probably.
Nice. I mean,
this has got to be a corner. They gotta want to pair somebody with
Joey Porter Jr.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, best corners on the board. That would make a lot of sense. Again, to get the best corner at number 20.
Dante Jackson was part of that Deontay Johnson deal with Carolina. So they sort of addressed that a little bit, but
that's true. That's true.
You could see offensive line, maybe. I mean, they go defense a lot early, though, right? I mean,
it's Peyton Wilson, isn't it?
Oh, I could totally see that. I mean, I really could. I don't. Yeah.
I'm not making that prediction, but I could see it.
I think we're all trying to jinx who we don't want it to be, right? We all know who we're thinking, right? Don't take him. Yeah. But I could see it being corner. I could see it being offensive line.
I desperately need a center.
Okay, right. So there you go. Like they could get that guy. They could get them.
The question is
it a reach?
Sepp Hen didn't want LA to get Verse. Yeah, but I more than that didn't want them to get Johnny Newton. So I'll take it. Yeah, at this point, as much, and I think less about matchups. Maybe I should think about that more. I think more about the guys I want falling to us. And right, so every player that's picked that isn't a guy I wanted is a win. But yeah.
And I went the other way with it because it's like some of the consistency issues with first. I'm not as afraid to face him as much as I would be afraid to face Johnny Newton. So
Yeah, for sure.
Paris is going to take him to Paris County Jail.
Austin Harris, what's up from Ash Fork, Arizona? Been a while since I've been able to catch you live. Go Cards! Appreciate you dropping by, Austin. We are all excited, obviously, about landing Marvin Harrison Jr. and we're going to see what happens next, right? Kevin saying at this point the Cards are looking really good to get that cornerback one. They desperately need 100%, and with the top three edges off the board, you could still see Darius Robinson being a guy they look at, Chop Robinson, but I'm more and more thinking, as much as I thought they would go edge in the first round, it's the corners that are falling, and I think Monty's going to take that value, I think, and go edge later maybe. Guessing Steelers go wide receiver. Steelers like to go wide receiver in round 3 and 4. They like to go later, so I don't think that's as likely. Pittsburgh offensive tackle, I could see, absolutely could see, and maybe they go with a guy like Guyton, right? Maybe there's a little bit of a reach here, but they get a guy who's more of a true tackle. But you said, like Kevin here said, they need a center. They could get one of the best center on the board. So yeah, Thomas Jr. They just have this history, and a good history of finding receivers later. And I think I think it's less likely you're going to do that. But who knows, right? Watch them prove me wrong.
I think they'd be more likely the ones to go with Worthy to be that complement to Pickens, whereas Thomas and Pickens is kind of a hat on a hat.
Yeah, Pickens wasn't he a second round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. We'll see. So the pick is in. All right. So let's see. Dan is saying, I had Mims or Latham to the Steelers. I'm not sure at this point. JPJ is a good bet. Yeah. Like JPJ is like a safe pick, right? It just, again, it's the value, the whole thing, but taking into your offensive lineman early is not usually a good value, but it's safe typically.
The first round centers have a 92% hit rate because there have been 12 of them.
Yeah, and someone else was saying, yeah, that's why, because they're usually really, really, really good to get there, right? Like a consensus, really good. Yeah. All right, so let's go around. What do we think, Brandon? What do you think they're doing?
I say line. Graham Barton, maybe.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think line as well.
Okay.
I think
Andrew?
just from the value that's dropped, I think this Mike Tomlin will be all over it.
Yeah, Andrew.
I'll say offensive line, but I'll go off the board. I'll say they do a surprise pick and go with Zach Frazier.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Guyton just to throw a surprise pick, more of a true tackle, but offensive line also. Yeah, it's the highest hit rate. Andrew beat me to it. Yeah. So
you and I got to do something because I'm a couple months out from getting some stuff too, but maybe next year for the draft, because I love all your points and I think we're on the same wavelength on a lot of things.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, definitely. I think we are as well.
All right, pick is in. Let's see what it is. See what it is.
If you're Pittsburgh, are you starting Russ or Fields? Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Poison. Somehow Mike
probably
Tomlin will still
start.
come away with a winning record. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to start Russ, right? You brought him in as a starter. Fields is a future flyer. You give him a little bit of time to kind of acclimate to the system and see if he earns that or if Russ gets injured. But yeah,
Unless Fields comes out and just absolutely steals the job from him, you got to go with Russell.
Yeah.
Not that they're paying Russell anything to play for him. But.
Right. It's a short-term thing. You give Russ a year or so, and you try to see if Fields shows you enough in practice that you want to let him be that next guy, right? And then you get him on probably on a discount. You're not going to have to pay him the premium quarterback. You get him on the kind of the Trubisky kind of a thing, right? In terms of the extension. So, all right, Cameron Hayward calling the pick.
Yeah, did you guys see him walking up? He looks rough.
He's a large human.
He was walking pretty labored.
I think I've seen who this is, and it's a.
We all have the right part of a team, the right unit, offensive line. Again, this bodes well for us, right?
At 27 and 35, just
Yeah.
That's my only thing about
35.
maybe they do wait on corner until 35 because there's still so many of them there.
yeah.
But so you take if Johnny Newton's there, you do him at 27, right? Or maybe even if you trade up for him and then you get a corner in the second round. No, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I mean, the top three will be gone, but at 35, Kool-Aid might be there still, right? Someone like that.
Is Baltimore's going to wind up with the top three corner in this class?
Probably.
Yeah.
Damn you, Baltimore, being good at drafting, letting everyone else make their reaches and let stuff fall to you.
I thought we were done with this when Ozzie Newsome retired.
Right. Yeah, Fatano, a good pick. All right, what do we think, Miami?
Good pick.
I think they want
to trade out.
Yeah.
I got next to no picks this year, though.
I mean, that's a prime spot for the Cardinals to trade up.
Yeah.
And
it's the top corner.
It's not going to cost us a lot to move up
No.
there, right?
Well, they're picking. It's got to be a corner. You're right. They lost Xavier Howard. It's a corner. They're going Mitchell.
Could be, but they could also, like you said, they need day 2 picks, so they could trade back to 27.
No, it's in.
It's in. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They ran that one up right quick.
Cornerback, yeah.
This would be corner. Miami and Philly.
Watch it be AD Mitchell, and they're just adding to the track team, or was who did he have who had the time? Was it Worthy? Worthy, right? They're going to get Worthy this draft, aren't they? They're starting an Olympic track team, but they can get him in the second round, maybe. So
at this point,
no, I think a team's probably going to. No, I don't know. I don't think he's worth a first, but I'm
surprised as offensive as this draft has been, though, that we've only had the 3 receivers so far.
One of those cases where it's so deep that teams are waiting.
Yeah,
this would be really interesting
because they can.
The back end of this draft falls because that could really impact sort of what we do at the start of the second.
Day 2 is going to be really
next year's picks. If we move down a few spots, if there's one of those top receivers, Franklin still on the board, or AD Mitchell still on the board at 30, 35.
Yeah.
We're in the second.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how much defensive, like with the way defenses just kind of keeps getting pushed back. Day 2, there's going to be some really good defensive players, right? That are available. Dana's saying, I feel like it's Wilkinson's replacement here, but I hope it's Quinion, right? Take Kalen King Dolphins, please. Yes, please do that. Man, I'm getting excited for the defensive players that are going to be available for us in day 2. Though
this is so good for us in terms of what we need to load up on in this draft and how this board is falling. It's
yeah.
But Sean Payton was jealous of Monty before, man.
I think I might get this Monty jersey printed out soon if it carries on like this.
And the crazy thing is, even though there've been some oddities, there's really only been one bad pick, I think, so far, and that was the Falcons.
Yeah, one mega reach.
Yeah. And again, and I like Penix. It's just, again, just the thought process of it just makes no sense. A 24-year-old when you just gave Cousins 3 years, like. I mean, okay, yeah, I guess Denver. I guess you could argue Bo Nix was a reach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised both those quarterbacks went as early as they did, But hey, helps us. I mean, I had thought we'd have 5 quarterbacks go before the Cardinals' second first-round pick. I thought a 5th one would sneak in there, but I thought it would be later than it was. But to have 6, like in the top 12, right? 6 in the top 12. It's crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Penix and Nix to go in the first round.
I thought maybe they would both go, but one of them would be in the teens and one would be in like after 27. Right, someone trading up in the back end. I saw that as a possibility, but I could have seen one of them falling to the second round, but I didn't see them all in the top 12. That's, yeah.
I mean, have we ever had that before, where 50% of the first 12 picks are quarterbacks?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah. And somebody had just put a tweet out about this earlier. He said 2 years ago, you would have had 2 of these guys go in the first round. That's just how desperate teams have become for their guy.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, they've lost a lot of defensive players. They've lost some defensive linemen too, though. So.
This could be Johnny, too.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but thanks for jinxing it, Andrew. If it happens, it's your fault now. You know that, right?
Well, we're okay. No.
Oh, okay, Oh, okay. Andrew Damas, Nostradamus over
Didn't
there.
they lose Jalen Phillips as well?
Ooh, I just saw who it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they did to injury.
And Bradley Chubb tore his ACL.
Okay, you're going to be very happy. You're going to be happy with who they took, Kevin. Very happy.
Especially if you hate the Dolphins.
Yeah. Well, if you don't want us taking him either.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm kind of shocking with that high, too.
I'm not shocked because of the talent, or I don't know, the tools and stuff. I'm not
upside,
shocked. Yeah, but there you go. No, I'm good with that. No, that again, I didn't. That's a player. I mean, I see the upside and it's intriguing, but that's not a player I wanted the Cardinals to get. So every player that they like that's gone. I'm glad. So what do you think, Kevin?
Yep. Okay. I think Philly will be corner. I don't know what.
Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele
I don't
loves
know
chop.
I don't know what Jacksonville will do here.
Philadelphia is
Dallas will
getting the
be
best.
O-line.
Is
Green
Philadelphia?
Bay might as well just write Cooper DeJean in for Green Bay right now. 'Cause he's the best player
He's
there.
such a Green Bay player, isn't he? He's
Tampa
something.
is what's going to be interesting.
Philly doesn't have to move up to get the best corner in the draft.
And everyone will be like, Howie Roseman's a genius.
Yeah. He just sat there and let him fall in his lap. Right? That's
Like Jordan Davis.
Yeah, right.
No, not Jordan Davis.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
Oh, that's right. But like
Both of them, honestly.
that's what good drafting teams do, though, is they sit and let that stuff come to them, right? Sometimes they move up if they need to, but they don't. Yeah, they don't overdo that. So.
Apparently, Houston are trying to get back into the first round.
Interesting.
They want to give us more of their picks.
I was going to say, you can have 27 back if you want to give us the rest of your picks.
Yeah, how does Philly do this every year, right? Yeah. Someone's got some pictures of someone or something. I don't know. All right, what do we? So we all think. Does anyone not think it's cornerback for Philly?
Especially with the rumors that were going around that Howie was working the phones trying to get back into the top 12 to try and get. I think this will be Quignon.
Yeah, I mean the way that secondary was just fell off a cliff last year. They'd probably draft Jonathan Gannon here if they could.
Right. Like, when was the last time the first cornerback went this late? I just don't remember that either, right?
I honestly can't
remember
a draft.
Yeah.
I think it was there was one a couple years ago where it happened.
Okay.
And it was, but I don't think it was this late.
Right. 22.
What was the Byron Murphy year?
Which was also the Kyler Murray year, 2019.
The Kyler year.
Yeah, that might have been it. You're right.
I think Byron was.
Well, he was a second round.
He was the first pick in the second round, but I think he might have been.
He was like the second corner taken, and the first one was in like the 20s or something.
Was it?
DeAndre Baker.
Oh, gee.
That disaster.
Yeah. Was he Baker the first cornerback taken in the draft?
Pick 30.
No, really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was a banner year for cornerbacks. All right. The pick is in.
Oh, that just clicked. I mean, it's good thing. Well, actually, no, technically not, because Byron went to Seattle. I wanted Byron to go to Minnesota so they could have both Byron Murphys and just that decision.
That would have been great.
We missed out on the defensive tackle, Jonah Williams.
Yeah, right. We could have had all the Jonah Williamses. Yeah. All right, so the pick is in for the Eagles. Man.
Oh, see, I wish they the ESPN graphics did things like on Twitter where it did the team needs and put cornerback and then had a gap and then everything else.
Right. All right. So I feel like it's just a question which cornerback, right? So Quignon is the guy we think it is? I'm hearing a couple of people
I
say.
think so.
What do you think, Brandon?
I personally prefer Arnold, but I could see.
What do you think the Eagles are preferring?
Probably Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they want that long.
Yeah.
Speed.
I think they took the flyer on the hyper athletic guy in Ringo last year and realized very quickly that was not going to work out. And so I think Mitchell makes sense.
Okay. So then we got Jaguars, Cowboys, Packers, Bucks, and then us. All right.
What if the Eagles turn around and take Johnny Newton?
Oh my God. Yeah. What's up, Fast Nasty?
That's what you need.
Right. All right, here comes the commissioner.
Also could be a sneaky spot for a wide receiver, but the way the board's falling, probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
They just extended both Devontae and
AJ Brown.
Brown.
I feel like, yeah, I'd be really surprised if they did receiver early.
Yeah, exactly. I don't expect it, but I do think they'll pick one up at some point.
Yeah.
What's up, Salty? Appreciate you dropping by. We're hanging out, hoping that some really great defensive player falls to us. They're doing whatever this announcement is. I mean, okay. At the risk of jinxing it, let's go around. Who do we hope the Cardinals end up? Let's say the Cardinals sit at 27, which is really starting to feel like they're not going to trade up. Watch them do that and prove me wrong. But like the way it's falling, they don't have to really. Who do you want them to take if they? Who do you hope is still there for them at 27? Brand, we'll start with you.
I think it's got to be Newton.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kevin, who are you hoping for?
Yeah, I'm hoping for Johnny Newton, but if Terry and Arnold falls, I'd be quite content with Terry and Arnold. But Johnny Newton is one of my draft crushes as well. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Andrew?
Yeah, I definitely. Oh, hold on. Okay, well, we know one person that's not going to be. So I definitely hope it. I definitely hope it doesn't. Like if that's the consensus. If not, Arnold or I like Wiggins too. I like Wiggins a lot.
I think we're all more or less on the same page. Newton's who I hope, and I'll be very happy if Arnold's who it is, right? Salty, so happy the Cards drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. You and me both, right? We're all excited about that. Seth Henn saying Newton. Yeah, it feels like Newton's the guy where most of us are hoping for. So, all right, it's kind of what so Eagles doing what we thought they would do, right? Okay. So Jaguars.
BTJ.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, this feels like receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think receiver for Jacksonville.
Yeah. So is it Brian Thomas or Eddie Mitchell?
I'd say Brian Thomas, I think he's receiver number 4.
Yeah. Dana's saying
23 is.
Dana's saying the players that she's lining up hoping we get at 27 that are available: Newton, Arnold, Barton, or shock pick Dorless.
What about Darius Robinson?
I mean, there have been people who've mocked them to the Cardinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mocked him, and he's at the draft, so he's a guy that they think is going to go first round.
Yeah, I think if he gets past us, he won't get past Detroit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
I would probably like him more at 35, but I mean, again,
I would like him more at 35. I think.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make it. But if you think he's going to be your edge guy, then and there's all these corners on the board, makes sense.
Yeah, I would. If I can get Arnold or Newton, I'd rather have them than Darius Robinson. For me, but if they're gone, I don't hate that. But
yeah, I see. I mean, Robinson's versatile. You can play him inside. You can play him outside. Is he a true edge? I think a bit of a question. I think it was Pancake Soul. I can't remember his actual name.
Marcos. That's Marcos.
Thank you. Yeah. He's talked about Cam Thomas, how they're not really using him right. And Robinson kind of is that same player. So take him, and Thomas is pretty much done at that point. So,
yeah. Like, sorry, I just saw a really funny tweet. It's like a guy with a look like this. Like, oh my God, it said Falcons GM when he finds out the NFL isn't a super flex league. I just retweeted it. That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's perfect. Can you breathe, Andrew? Sorry.
That broke me a little bit.
Did that break you a little bit? that person won Twitter for my money, so that was so awesome.
Absolutely. Oh, I thought this was the fantasy draft.
Right. I don't get to play two quarterbacks. God. Oh man. Okay.
Has some speed now. We saw that at the combine. They could be throwing some weird 2 QB sets out there. You know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I like in terms of Robinson, like I just think like we've gone through edge now, and it's not a great edge class, right? And I'm just from the value perspective, if we're not getting one of the top couple guys, I'd just rather get an elite cornerback, right, or an elite defensive tackle, and get an edge later. You know, get a guy like Gabriel Murphy, like I talked about, who's a fit for what they want to do. Continue to develop BJ Ojulari, and get your pass rush from the interior with Johnny Newton, and try to manufacture pass rush with the guys you got, and next year get an edge. You know, that's it's you can work with that if you have to.
I do wonder if we think if we do like go corner.
I mean, I think.
What if they just go super wild off the board and get a second wide receiver?
My goodness.
Go get Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Yeah.
No seriousness to
I
that.
don't want to see that.
I mean, yeah. I'm like seriously entertaining them. Like, well, I mean, get AD Mitchell, and yeah, I think we look at. I think they're going to build so much around the tight end run game that probably just would be a waste of capital, right?
Oh no, I completely agree. No, I was.
Yeah.
Totally,
I know you're
totally.
just yeah. But I'm here seriously thinking. All right, so the pick is in for the Jaguars, but like that does lead to another conversation. It's like,
Got the neck brace.
Okay.
He's rocking the neck brace.
Who
Is he really? I missed it.
He's literally rocking the neck brace.
Who is?
Khan.
Tony Khan.
Oh no. Oh god.
That's great.
Oh my wrestling fans on Twitter are
Okay.
going to go crazy.
Hey, Blues. I guess this is a joke that you'll get. And-
Yes, kayfabe lives.
Okay, so
Let's see.
but like on a serious note, like with the way the Cardinals are building, they are building a lot around the run and the tight end. So like you don't with a team like that, you kind of don't need to go invest heavily in your second receiver. You want, Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, and plus a guy they get on day 3. Like that's kind of all you really need with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. I actually think getting a backup tight end is more important than that second receiver at this point with the way they're going to build this thing, right? Just get a guy in the 6th round just to fill out the room, right? Receiver, right? Maybe a guy with speed, right? Just to make him run a few go routes. But you're going to this team's going to be built more, I think, more like Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Tight end, except we're going to have an elite receiver now, right? Or like what Atlanta was trying to do, except they didn't have the quarterback to do it, right? This is not going to be a Miami, or even Cincinnati multiple elite receiver kind of offense, right?
And
I
again,
think with how well Dortch played, it's just hard to want to give him a bit bigger opportunity
him the
next
ball.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with Dortch is I just don't see us paying him next year. I really don't, unfortunately. Like, I'd love to see him perform brilliantly and get the payday that he deserves. I just don't see us being that team who gives him that contract.
I tend to agree. And that was, in my video for my mock chat, that was my rationale for Jacob Cowing. It doesn't have to be him, but you get a guy on day 3, a slot guy who can develop and be the replacement. We all love Greg Dortch, but pragmatically, they're going to have to pay a lot of guys a lot of money. And I don't know if they're going to pay him unless he ends up not being that expensive, but yeah.
I feel like if they were gonna pay him, they would have done it this year rather than doing the 1 year.
Just give him the tender. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but you at the same time, if you can get away with paying him that, you do to some degree, because with guys that are kind of, we love him, but he's still a marginal starter at this point in his career. So you maximize.
I think done the right thing. Yeah. I think it's a case of we give him the opportunity to show last season, and he took it with both hands.
I think even then he's a restricted free agent, so they'll have the opportunity to match anything.
So if you got that tool in your toolkit, roster and contract wise, you're going to use it. So
it always makes me laugh how the Cowboys draft room looks like a throne in the Empire.
You're right. Dun 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 dun.
Going on in the background, going all in, all in, all in, all in, all in. Just playing and repeating in the background.
It looks very. It does not look inviting, right? I don't know.
I'll still never get over the picture during the COVID year of Bill Belichick and his dining dog.
That was a really strange draft, wasn't it? You just saw the commissioner getting progressively more drunk as the night got on.
Waving at the fans, like, "Hi guys,
come on."
Yeah, you can't boo me.
Oh man.
All right. Actually, a real trip. Oh, sorry. I went back and was watching older drafts, and watching Paul Tagliabue walk out and not get booed. I totally forgot that was like wasn't always a thing.
and those were always in New York, where they're aggressive.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing the same this week as well. Just like looking forward to the draft. I was watching back all the old drafts, 2004, like onwards. Like someone's put them on YouTube, basically every single first round. So I was just watching those out of nostalgia.
Man, you're serious about that. I mean, I love the draft, but I've never watched an old one. So you
just when I was at work, I just have it on my monitor, and I just sort of have it in the background as I'm sort of trying to drag through the day because I knew that Thursday was coming.
The 2004 is the best one because that was the Eli year. And
great job.
The look on his face when he's holding that.
So awkward.
Like that.
The Chargers.
Yeah. So
the funny thing I picked up on was Arch was asked because they were talking about this was Eli's decision. I had nothing to do with it. But then during the interview a couple times, he's like, well, that's how he came to the decision.
Sorry, the Cowboys, they're 29 seconds, 28. It's like it's still counting down. It's not the pick is in. What is going 22, 21? What's going on here? Are they trading? The pick is in finally.
Yes.
It's like, okay. So what do we think they do here?
This is a trade.
Oh, yep.
I'm not going to say who it's to.
Oh, there is a trade. Okay.
I'm at commercial. Please spoil it. I need to know.
The home city is on the clock.
Traded up.
Cardinals, Monty did?
Detroit.
Johnny Newton.
Oh, no. Detroit traded up?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Detroit. Okay.
Another corner needy team.
So what do we think it is?
It's true.
Do we think it's corner? I mean,
Terry Arnold, yeah.
Terry Arnold's on the board.
Could be a quarter, but they also have been looking at some of the edges. This could be Darius. They could be trying to get ahead of us for Darius.
So they just moved ahead of Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and us. And Green Bay, you think, is a team they're probably mean, that's the team they're trying to get ahead of. So what do they think? Do we think Green Bay was going corner?
No,
I mean, we
they're
thought.
trying to get ahead of us.
Yeah.
That interest in Robinson, potentially.
Okay.
But it could be a corner as well. Could be for Arnold.
I think it's. I'm gonna.
Bay for DeJean.
I think it's Arnold from 29. Yeah. I think it's Arnold. Or DeJean. They could be DeJean. Maybe they like him. That's right. Maybe they want to get him ahead of Green Bay. Right. That would make sense.
That would make the most sense, actually. Yeah.
Does he clash with Brian Branch's role at all? Sort of that.
Because he's kind of like a hybrid safety corner, isn't he? Like
depends on how you see him as an outside guy and just stick inside.
See, the last person I remember they had this kind of, and I know I've said this before. Last time I remember hearing this kind of discourse around a player, it was Jalen Ramsey. Oh, is he safety? Is he corner? Because he could do it all well, right? And I'm not saying he's as necessarily saying this is Jalen Ramsey, but like sometimes when there's that kind of conversation, well, then they can do either. So I don't know.
A little bit more recently than that, there was Mika Fitzpatrick.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Now he ended up being more safety, right? But
oh no, we were looking at that year before the Rosen trade.
Yeah. So I'm saying DeJean because I just think that makes the most sense why they would trade up to there. Who we taking, boys? So we were talking about that earlier. We all hope it's Johnny Newton. I think that's our first pick, but there's other like Terrion Arnold also is in the conversation. So we'll see, obviously, who falls to us. Some people said Darius Robinson is a player that they might take. That's not who I hope they take there, but that's also a possibility. So yeah, I'm thinking Cooper DeJean here. Let's see if that ends up being the case.
I think it's going to be Arnold.
Yeah. That makes more sense in a vacuum to me. I think the DeJean thing is because we've all been talking about the Packers' affinity for Arnold or DeJean. So if you're moving in front of them, it's to take DeJean, right? If you feel like they're going to take him, then you trade it with someone else. But
I think another argument here is the fact that the Lions just extended their left tackle and they've just extended their wide receiver one. Mm-hmm. So they're very limited on their cap space, and what's also most very, very valuable contract is your corner.
Yeah.
So
Goff's going to need a new contract sooner.
Goff's going to need an extension soon as well, exactly. So why not get that cheap contract for the 5 years on a position of,
Yeah. And again, getting one of the top. Sorry?
No, I think they're not giving Goff the contract right now, so I'm going to say they're coming up for a cornerback, and this is Rattler.
Right. Oh my goodness. That would be the biggest surprise, right? Wide receiver second run. So I think it just makes so much sense that the thing you trade up for here is a corner, right? We'll see though.
There's so much talent that's going to fall into that second. Look, see it's on the board. Arnold, Barton, DeJean, Newton, Guyton, Mitchell, McKinstry, Edwin Cooper, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy. It's going to be a lot of receiving needy teams at the. Well, it depends what happens at the back end of this draft now.
Yeah. Can't wait to see who actually pans out from this draft, this first round draft. We should take a look back after a few years. Yeah, for sure.
Carolina's got to be jumping for joy right now, seeing all those wide receivers still on the board.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like these sort of picks where they get loads of stuff involved, but I wish they'd save it for after the first round.
Right.
Put that in the second and the third and the fourth, etc., like you usually do. It's just tell me what the picks are.
Right. Okay. Just heard
you.
Yep.
All right. We have the position. All right. So this is the first of pick. I'm like, oh, dang it. Right. A guy went off the board that I would have hoped we could have got.
Yeah. Now it's a case of, just hoping that this guy doesn't go 2 picks before.
Well, okay.
If that's even what we're looking at, because we
Yeah.
could be looking if Graham Barton's there as well. I think that's a position that you look at as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's going into your offensive line. I'm sticking by my chart thing.
Looks like my mock might be coming true at this rate.
Well, mine isn't for the second pick because he just went off the board. But I think this. I still stand by. I just think they're not going into your offensive line before the third round. There's such a track record with the Patriots. He might do his own thing. Absolutely. We'll see. But I do think there's a philosophy there that you don't need to take into your offensive line early. So I think that like of all the things on the almighty chart, that's the one I kind of buy into the most, is that this interior offensive line thing is a philosophy because they found them late in New England. I think he believes he can do that. Last thing, have you all already spoke about the Seahawks and the Rams picks? They're going to eat Kyler for breakfast. Kyler's a bite size for the monsters, so hope that runs them. We talked about that a little bit and how maybe interior offensive line might be on the menu, right? Because of that. So, all right. So we think DeJean is going Packers. Most likely.
Graham Barton would be the only other one I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know they need lines there.
I mean, is there a universe where they take Johnny Newton?
I mean, there is.
Who the Packers are taking.
So,
in the multiverse that exists, sure. Is it
I'm not
timeline? Probably.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. I have Barton at tackle eventually, starting at left guard while we went to tackle. Some people have Barton at center. I mean, though, it's such a wide range of possibilities. So, what do we think about Tampa Bay? So you're not a heretic for the almighty.
I have no idea where they're going to go.
So Dana says she likes Barton, but because he could play tackle, she's not a heretic. If Cooper's there to take him over Newton, who's with me? No, there's corners that I like later. There are some really good corners like Kyrie Jackson, other guys that I think a lot of us like that are still going to be there in the second or maybe even third round. And Newton, like after him, the drop off is significant to get a defensive tackle who can rush the passer and so.
Call me racist. I just don't know. I mean, we just don't know the quarterbacks work.
Come on. You remember Jason Sehorn? Come on.
I do, from when I was like 8.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see right here. So Packers pick is in.
Yeah, I remember Jason Sehorn from back in the time when Rich Gannon was making the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. DeJean is a good off-man cover corner. He wasn't available in the offseason to see how he handles press, which we need on the outside. Yeah, I think DeJean's not really just – I'd be surprised if – I think he's going here too, but maybe someone knows something. But I think there's other corners they like better, and I think there's corners they like on day 2.
I think if they saw a true CB1, I think they would have traded up.
Yeah. Lance saying, I think gives us great depth. Think about if Boot or Thompson goes down, who do we have? D-line is easier to plug. Yeah, but I think there's some slot/safeties on day 2 that I really like. That like Javon or what's his name from Georgia? Javon Baker. Not that's the wide receiver. What's the safety from Georgia? The slot safety, Javon. Now I have to look him up.
I'm
Bullard.
Yeah.
Like there's guys like that on day 2 that if you want to get that guy who's that backup there that you can get. Bullard. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's so. I'd rather go with a guy like that on day 2, and get Newton here. Like you can plug guys in the D line, but like to get a game wrecker like Newton is tough. So,
yeah, if we want slot. I mean, he's more of just a pure slot corner, but if we want a slot guy, give me Mike Sanish.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, and you can get him. It looks like you're gonna be able to get him at 35. The way things are going.
Question is here: if DeJean is there, do you take him and then hope that Johnny Newton falls to 35. So obviously that's the reason that he's falling.
It's a split injury, I think is what Blake was saying, right? That's causing him to fall.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that happening. So,
or do they go for even still like Barton's still on the board?
All right, look at Terry Arnold, man of the people. He's got a selfie stick and he's with all the Lions fans. Love that.
This board honestly couldn't have fallen much better.
Lance thinks Newton's going to be another Robert Kimdichie. You can quote me on that. I'm scared about Newton. I mean, I'm just never one to kind of let myself be a prisoner of those old comps. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Because, yeah, you could say that for any, player. So I don't know.
Until you tell me that Johnny Newton got so high that he fell out of a second-story building, I'm not making that comp.
Yeah.
I've been high in my life. I've never been so high to fall out of a fucking window. Sorry, excuse my French.
Yeah. I think we just make those we make those doomsday comps a little too much with it's easy to do that, but like I don't know. All right, so the Packers pick Darnell because he could also be Darnell Dockett, right? Exactly, right?
My favorite Cardinals player.
Right. Oh, dude, I love Dockett, 100%. Newton is high motor, no off-field issues, no weight issues. Didn't drunkenly fall out a window in the draft process. You're thinking of Sweat. Yeah. So, that's interesting.
Spicy.
But I like it because it means, here's what it means. Unless the Cardinals decide to trade back, which I hope they don't at this point, they're going to have a chance to get Newton or DeJean if they want him, if they like him, right? So, yeah.
And Tyler Guyton's still on the board as well.
Yeah. All right, so what do you think with Tampa Bay?
Honestly, Tampa Bay are just the wild card.
Huh.
I've got no idea where they're going to go.
So many ways.
You just invested in Baker.
Powers Johnson, Graham Barton.
Exactly. That's what my line of thinking.
They could go with a corner. They could go interior. Probably not interior defensive tackle because they do have the.
So where we're tracking the picks, we're all actually in different spots. I think Andrew gets it first, and then I'm not sure, Brandon, if you're with where you're hearing about them, but I'm usually after Andrew, but before Kevin. I'm watching on YouTube TV on ESPN. So I think just Andrew seems to get his feed is a little earlier than ours. So
I've got it's not even through cable. It's just like an antenna. So I think that's probably a little bit.
Yeah, that's the fastest.
Yeah. The Bucks pick is in. It says. Yeah, Bucks ran that in. Bucks got to get a quarterback, right? Cross my fingers for Kool-Aid to go. Yeah. I mean, DeJean is the guy that you would think would be, but like maybe it is Kool-Aid. Like maybe they don't see him. Maybe they don't see DeJean as a true outside corner. And maybe they I could see Kool-Aid here. Dana's saying that, right? I mean, that's if you're looking for a guy that you feel like is a true outside corner, you maybe take him over DeJean if you're not sure about that.
Yeah, they've lost a couple guys over the last few years. Like Murphy Bunting was one, and I think they lost another one. Yeah, somewhere along the way.
Defensive coach.
Yeah, they go. Obviously, they've got Antoine Winfield as well. He sort of plays a sort of similar role to what you could play DeJean at as well.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis was the other one they lost.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd say this is corner.
This could also be another wide receiver. They did sign Evans, but he's not a spring chicken. And what's his face on his last year?
So you think then AD Mitchell is the guy? Then maybe.
I mean, if you've got Evans for a couple more years, and oh my God, why am I blanking on the other wide receiver there?
Godwin.
Chris Godwin.
Thank you. If he's on the last year, maybe it's like a Lad or a Xavier. I heard a lot of teams dropped Mitchell off their board completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
Man, I'm going to say this, and I'll probably regret it. I do hope it's not for us, Darius Robinson. And I don't dislike him. It's not that. There's just I really want Newton here. You know.
The only thing I would say about Johnny Newton, if you want to be bought in for Johnny Newton, watch the Penn State game. Like, he is the sole reason that they did not get completely and utterly embarrassed that game.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. Like, it's unreal. Like, and that was the game that I watched it and thought. Yeah.
So I was wondering I didn't say this out loud, but Steph Henry says Lad for I'm guessing for the Buccaneers. That's another name I thought might be a little bit of a surprise, but like I could see that. You know,
Lad McConkey might be a fit.
What's that?
To say it. A place for Lad McConkey.
With Tampa Bay?
The 49ers.
Oh, 49ers. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dang it. Yeah. Especially if they end up having to do something with Ayuk. Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm just surprised that you
Find
didn't
out who
have
this pick is, and then
Go ahead.
That's everyone else that Ayuk is still a 49er. I honestly thought he'd be gone by now.
Yeah.
I think they were probably relying on the fact that he'd be gone by now as well.
All right. So our pick, what do we think, Buccaneers?
I think it's corner.
Think corner.
I'll say wide receiver. I don't even. It could be anything, but I'll say wide receiver.
I'll say this is where JPJ goes.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's I was wondering if offensive line. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna throw a different name out there. Nate Wiggins, cornerback, outside
Seems to be the
cornerback.
forgotten corner a little bit, doesn't he? That always the one that no one tends to really talk about in terms of the corner group.
Yeah, little slight of build,
Yeah,
but
needs to
speed
get in
and
the gym a bit.
yeah. So that's gonna be I'm gonna throw that one in there.
And I did mention him earlier as being someone I wouldn't mind us taking either.
Yeah.
If he falls. I mean,
If he
obviously.
falls to the second, then yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, at 35, sign me up for that for sure. And then so I think we're all I think this is who at this point we all kind of want, right? Especially with Arnold off the board, is Newton. And there's been reports that they've spent a lot of time with him,
He's met with
extra
him numerous
meetings.
times.
God, do you remember back at the beginning of the year when we thought we might have 2 first-round picks and we were talking about Marv and Johnny, and then that was like, okay, well, that's not happening because Houston doesn't suck, and now here we are.
Looking at all the mock drafts that came
My-
out and seeing
Yeah.
Johnny Newton fall to 27, like on PFF all the time, and I'm thinking that's never going to happen. Like without a trade up, Johnny Newton is not falling to 27, and then
Here we are.
potentially, yeah. Let's see who this pick is first.
Dang it! I was this close too. Whatever. It's fine. My mock so sucked this year, anyways. I did so much better last year.
We okay. Yeah. Sorry. We got a spoiler.
Ooh, spoiler alerts.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So what do we think?
Just in words.
The good guys are on the board, kids.
Come on, Johnny Newton. Let's go. If we put
Johnny,
this with MHJ and Johnny Newton, I'll be a very happy boy.
Newton or DeJean? I think anyone else
Oh no.
One of
would
those.
be a bit of a
I
disappointment.
just got a spoiler on Twitter and I wish I hadn't looked.
Uh-oh.
Left field. Gonna be like,
Well, we know who you didn't really want, so
I'm just saying I wish I didn't look because I want to have it revealed.
yeah. Selling it well, anyways.
Hey Lance, don't spoil it. Don't do spoilers for us, please. Please. We're trying to avoid those.
that's a good pick. Graham. Funny how they got him listed as a center there.
And they're showing lacrosse highlights on NFL.com.
Okay.
How funny the fact that we've had all this ammunition talking about trading up in the first and we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if we'll be a bit more active in tomorrow, or if at all, if he is looking to maybe use these 11 picks.
I mean, I could see them doing some. I feel like they'll want to get future draft capital. I could see them trying to trade something away to get.
Yeah, I think there'll definitely be some sort of trade back tomorrow too. Oh, okay, I just heard it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I mean, obviously, there's ones that we would have preferred, but it does fit a position of need.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
I think they're going to think Johnny Newton pulls to the second.
If he does, I will be. If they get him at 35, I will be over the moon for this, right? We needed an edge. I don't hate it. Right? Jay Green likes it. Yes. So yeah. I think he's going to be good. I just loved Johnny Newton here. So we'll see though. Maybe in Monty we trust. I think he has an idea of how this board's going to fall. And they also have the ammo to trade up if they want to try to get Johnny Newton.
That's true. I mean, just because we could still sneak up in here.
Do y'all? I mean, I'll stay. I'll stay streaming for the next 5 picks if anyone wants to hang out. I was going to end it, but we're close to the end. If you want, in case the Cardinals trade up, you don't have. If you need to bail, though, feel free.
The only thing I will say about this pick is the last edge rusher we took out of Missouri actually turned out pretty okay.
Okay.
So
good call.
I mean, his profile is really good for them too. Like, I mean, in terms of like,
it's funny how he said he was obviously he started as a tackle, didn't he? And then they moved him to edge, which last season, which was his most productive year.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Got an ad. Okay. Going to the NFL.com's profile, they grade him as will eventually be a plus starter.
Okay. Bit gutted it's not Johnny Newton, but I feel like there's potential for him to maybe fall into the second, if not.
Okay.
Still, 2 positions of need for the Cards. I think Robinson was a surprising one in terms of how much he's potentially climbed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you, I've
be at the draft, I was thinking, but there's no
Yeah.
guarantee to be in the first.
I mean, I've seen mock drafts where I've seen people mock him to the Cardinals at 27 before too. I forget who it was, but there's a couple mocks. Chris Young, I don't love the pick, but I'll choose to trust Monty. Yeah, I just feel like we could have gotten him at 35. I don't know that we would have got him at 35. I think he'd be gone before then. But okay, Dan is saying he is a player I've watched. I've heard that he flashes and his highlights are good. Good Senior Bowl. About to watch 4 games of his work. So okay. So there we go.
So Robinson's more of a hand in the ground 5 tech, or is this like competing with Zaven at all, or?
We've got to trade, boys.
Oh,
Kansas City and just traded up with Buffalo.
Ooh.
What the hell is
Why
Buffalo
would you trade
doing?
Buffalo?
What is Buffalo doing?
Why would you do that?
We just traded away Stephon Diggs. We got our biggest rival in the conference, and let's just go ahead and hand them the receiver they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think like this big edge. It reminds me a little bit like you know, you look at like with Philly, right? A little bit like they've got some bigger edges there going to their roster, but
Montez Sweat comes to mind,
right. Even guys a little inside outside versatility, but let's see, Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I don't know if this guy might be a little Fletcher Cox, I'm thinking of that. He's a little more of a defensive interior, but
Josh Sweat's listed at 6'5", 265. So
right.
Start. Ron Sweat. Got my sweaty. Oh God, are they gonna wind up with Sweat out of Texas too?
It's funny, I've just seen on the Cards Twitter account, they said announcing Darius Robinson, the newest DT in the Valley.
I feel like you think about like a little bit, again, not the same player, same build, but like JJ Watt was kind of one of those kinds of guys who was moved around the line like that. And I think that's kind of, and with what they want to do, they want a 3 technique when they're doing a 3-4 kind of a front, but then they want a more of a 5 technique when they go to that, 4-2-5 kind of nickel look, right? So he kicks outside or kicks inside that for that potentially.
Yeah, so like outside on run downs, inside on pass downs.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we trade for Noon. I'd be pretty excited about that too. Like, again, we have the ammunition to do that.
Kansas City's going to get. They're going to get their Tyreek Hill 2.0 and Xavier Worthy. I mean, I don't think he would be Tyreek Hill 2.0 anywhere but Kansas City, but just the fact that they're drafting him means he would be.
It's right. He's going to be that, isn't he? Because they are doing. Okay. So we think it's receiver, though?
I think so.
Yeah. I'd say so. What tackles are left?
Guyton.
Guyton. He's right tackle, really, isn't he? Unless you wanted to move him to the left.
Yeah. Sua Mateo.
But he's definitely, I think, a bit more of a development player as well.
Yeah.
There was talk about Patrick Paul maybe sneaking into the end of day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That could totally be it, too.
Actually, and this is actually good, too, seeing all these guys go off the board because it leaves less options for San Francisco because they would have probably loved to have Barton or Morgan there.
Yeah. What is Shefty saying?
Just seeing who it is.
Okay.
So the Chiefs got 28, a 4th, and a 7th, and gave up 32, a 3rd, and a 7th. Okay, it was on 4 picks.
Huh?
I was like, that's all they gave up, but it was just 4 picks. So yeah, that makes sense.
It is good. I mean, you think about two of our two biggest needs have been addressed, right? Edge and receiver. And 2 premium positions. Monty's continuing to do with the smart drafting in that regard, right? So all right.
I don't think Buffalo won't trade out the first. I don't think we're going to be trading back up into the first.
Yeah, Yeah, Dallas was already traded back once.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
The one thing Coleman was like, "Do not let this happen, NFL."
Dana's saying only 22, so room to grow and learn. Looks to be a bull rush. First guy sometimes engages with second blocker instead of trying to avoid for QB running back. Poor hand usage, gets off blocks, good versus run. Okay. So talking about Robinson. Improved as season progressed as swim and long arm moves. Okay. All right. So that's interesting. The Cowboys pick is in at 29.
This has got to be Guyton.
You think Cowboys taking Guyton? I mean, Oklahoma. He's from Oklahoma, right? Man, that's right up the highway, right up 35.
Yep.
They like those guys.
Unless we just want to get like the CeeDee Lamb clone and put AD Mitchell next to CeeDee Lamb and have those two
Right.
copycats there. They had a quarterback that can not consistently get him the ball. That was kind of AD Mitchell's problem at Texas anyway, so he's used to that.
Okay.
This is such I give it till week like 3 or 4 next year of the college season before Arch Manning takes Quiddy Ewers' job. His Arch is looking really good in spring.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Yeah, I wasn't even that sold. I thought that year Malachi Nelson was the better prospect, and then he didn't even make it 1 year at USC. He already transferred to Boise State. I saw. But in a few years, you gotta watch out because the best named QB prospect ever is coming out, and it's Phillip Rivers' son, Gunnar Rivers, the quarterback.
Oh God.
Phillip named his son Gunnar.
Okay. That is the kind of name for you name your kid if you wear jorts and New Balance sneakers and you think you're cool. Which is Phillip Rivers.
Hey, Marv is sponsored by New Balance. You got to be careful on the New Balance hate now.
Okay, that's fair. But the jorts. I'm sticking by the jorts, and I think Phillips Rivers is kind of like the human manifestation of jorts. Is he not? Like is he not? So I don't know.
Well, and they've got like how many kids? A dozen or whatever.
Yeah, like crazy amount of kids.
So gotta name them something.
Right. Hi, Alona. Thanks for popping by. Hi, Joe. What's up? You finally got your wish on Marvin Harrison Jr. Congratulations. Thank you so much. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. Yeah, we are all very excited. Okay. You know what's going to happen here? Cooper Jean's going to fall to Baltimore.
Yeah, he is.
I just saw who the Cowboys pick was, so
I called that one.
Yep, good call.
Yep.
There, that's like my 4th pick I've gotten right.
Nice. All right. Do we think Baltimore's Jean, or do you think that they go Kool-Aid? Or they could do something completely different. Obviously, I mean Newton's there. Maybe I could see that. Wiggins. I feel like it's a corner, most likely a corner though.
I forgot Wiggins was still there. I think Wiggins is a Baltimore. Wiggins or Kool-Aid just seem more like Baltimore guys, but
yeah. I'm going to stick with the pick. I'm going to stick with Kool-Aid just because I kind of talked about that and tweeted about that and just for consistency. So I'm going to stick with Kool-Aid as the pick here. But I could see it being any one of those. Yeah, really, Chris, I really thought they were going to take Barton. Barton went to the Buccaneers. So the pick is in for Baltimore. Finished last of 4 games. Like the pick much better now. Film guys I trust had watched some earlier in the season games, and he was invisible at times. Much improved versus Ohio and Georgia.
yeah, he definitely came on towards the end of the year, which is part of why he was such an elite runner.
Yeah. You know, the college players are going to develop some, right? So, all right.
I will say this, and I'm a big Jim Nagy fan who's involved involved in running the Senior Bowl, and he's talked a lot about how much he likes Darius Robinson. So,
okay,
I trust Nagy.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the Emperor's room, the Cowboys. Find your lack of faith troubling. Are you sure we should take a running back, Jerry? I find your lack of faith troubling.
You got the Dallas Cowboy
pick.
and I have the Emperor, Nick Saban.
Oh, Kevin just saw the Ravens pick, and he's heavy sigh or heavy exhale. So. Okay. Yeah, so let's see who it is.
What if the Niners come away with Johnny Newton? Does it replace Eric Armstead?
Oh, God.
Newton, Byron Murphy, Jared Verse. 6 times a year.
No. Do not do this to me. Like it's like the universe is just saying a big FU to you. Oh, yay! You know, Aaron Donald retired. Woohoo! Oh yeah. I got something for you lined up. Just wait.
We didn't know Aaron Donald was Medusa.
Right.
God, that just looks so weird every time I see it. 8 Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr. What?
Yeah.
It's just
I will say this is probably the least that Goodell's ever been booed in a draft, so he's got to be happy about that.
Yeah, that's very true.
Other than the COVID.
I don't think Detroit's as angry of a city as some other cities, right? They're just happy to be here, right? They're just the vibe I get. They're like that, you know. I don't know. They're just happy to still have an NFL team. Is the vibe I get. I don't know.
Well,
okay.
They had so.
Okay, so y'all, one of y'all, both of y'all called that. A couple of y'all called it. That's okay. But we had the position right. That made sense. Okay, so 49ers, Bills, and then just then tomorrow.
Niners need corners. Niners need corners bad too.
Yeah.
And especially now that we just drafted Marv.
I mean, how do they feel about DeJean though? Do they like him? I mean,
do they like DeJean or
Kool-Aid
more? Yeah. Or do they go off the board and with like one of the other guys, a TJ Tampa and a Rakestraw?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're going to wait on one of those guys, though. Maybe I'm wrong.
I would,
Yeah.
especially I wouldn't draft Rakestraw at all, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'd draft Chris Abrams Drain before I draft Rakestraw. I think Chris jumped off the screen a lot more at times than Ennis did. Plus, Ennis had a horrible RAS score.
Man, I don't know the way the board is looking. Carolina, like looking ahead, Johnny Newton, right? Carolina's going to probably go receiver, right? Top of tomorrow.
Yep.
Then you got the Patriots in front of us.
They'll want to go receiver as well, most likely. They want to get a weapon for their new quarterback.
Yeah.
Do they go with? I mean, this guy's kind of fallen out of favor mainly because he can't catch a cold. But
Keon Coleman.
no,
Tez Walker.
Tez,
Mm.
get the teammate for him. Do the Burrow chase thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But I could see Ladd because they like to, like the versatility. What's his name? Like the receiver. Ladd McConkey. I could see them Ladd McConkey in New England too.
Everyone likes to reference to.
Yeah.
Wes Welker, Mark III.
Right. Elena saying, I wonder who did my Seahawks get in the 16th pick. Super excited for the season. So Seahawks
Byron Murphy.
got Byron Murphy the second, a good defensive tackle. So he's gonna, they got a really good player there at 16. So I can't help but feel Wiggins will spend more time in the air than on the field because of his size, I guess. I feel like that's not as big a deal with cornerbacks. Does he have an injury history? I mean, I know he's small, but I just feel like for some reason, cornerbacks, that doesn't end up, I don't feel like it ends up being much of a problem, their size. Like you got some guys like Sauce Gardner's a very slight guy, but it's fine. So
I think he did get banged up a little bit at the end of last year, if I remember right.
Okay.
But I don't think he's had like a history of injuries or anything.
Yeah. We'll see though. Yeah. 49ers on the board, on the clock. What do we think for 49ers?
Given what's left, I'm going to say corner, either Kool-Aid or Cooper.
I'm surprised how far Cooper's slid. What that tells me is the league has a lot of questions about him as an outside corner. People don't see him as someone. I think the league doesn't see him as an outside corner. That's what that tells me. They see him as a slot safety.
Which, I mean, I agree. When did Branch win the first last year? Didn't he, or was that second?
I feel like it was early second, wasn't it? Brian Branch.
Oh, they had 2 picks in the first round, right?
They had 2, but they took. No, it was the second rounder because it
was round 2.
The linebacker and Gibbs, didn't they? Jack Campbell and Gibbs, and then in the second.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Pick 45 in the second round. Loved Brian Branch. And he's turned out really good. So. I mean, listen, I wouldn't hate that if they took DeJean. I
mean, we're going to we need a corner at some point in this draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's the way the board's falling. I feel like it's more likely we go corner at third round, but I could see Cooper, Kool-Aid. I think if Newton's there at 35, I think that's got to be the pick, right?
We could really wind up making all 11 of these picks too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna tell you though, man, if we get Newton 35, I'm gonna be really excited.
Oh man, talk about turning around the defensive line in one draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one draft and one pick from last year because BJ counts.
Yeah. Well, they moved Garrett to the outside if they take DeJean. I would think maybe. I would think so, but it would make sense. Mm-hmm.
So this is next two picks will be receivers. And yeah, it's just New England.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ilona. Appreciate you. You're always so kind and thoughtful. So, God bless you. All right, so the pick is in. About to announce it.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
this is getting interesting here.
Okay.
This is the most emphatic response you've had all night, Kevin. So this has got to be good.
I hate it. I hate it.
Oh.
Okay. I mean,
Shanahan knows what he wants.
well, it's not a player I wanted. So every player that's taken that I didn't want is one more player that falls to us at 35 that I like. So
I like
That's a
Pearsall a
surprise
lot.
pick. That's I
I
like
just
it.
didn't-
That's why I said I don't like.
yeah, he's a player we
Nice.
didn't want though, right? We don't need. It's yeah. So
Well,
it's
Expecting him to go in first at all.
We do want another receiver at some point, just not where he would have
Yeah.
theoretically
But it felt
been
Right.
taken.
you only
yeah.
get second
Omar's
to
saying
the
exactly.
list.
Nothing against the player. It's just not a player I saw us taking because where I want to go receivers much later, right? So
I just don't like it because it's the 49ers.
no, that's fair. That's fair. Now we have to play him, right?
And I have to root against him, and I've been a fan of his since he's been here.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So I don't have those connections, so it's no biggie for me.
What's the Bills going to be then? 80 Mitchell.
Oh, interesting. We just had a trade. Carolina. So Carolina just traded
well, that's a wide receiver. I mean, that's
Yeah.
AD Mitchell.
Xavier Woods.
Sophie
Huh? Leggett? You think so? Okay. So they do you think they're doing this to get the 5th year option? Because
Yeah.
which
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
when you think about it, receivers now the position where that 5th year option really matters. Quarterbacks, it doesn't matter as much because you end up having to extend them anyway, and you bake that into your extension. With receivers now becoming that next most expensive position beside after quarterback, right? So yeah, there's the Ayuk replacement, right?
Well, it's that plus I think they wanted somebody, and Buffalo probably said, "Hey, if you don't flip with us, we're going to take him because we need a wide receiver too."
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You reckon it's Leggett? It's the most heavily most worst kept secret, isn't it? Really.
That they really like
What
him.
they do.
Hmm.
Got a second. Oh, a second out of 5th. Okay, 5th or a 6th. So they went down a spot and traded a 6th for a 5th.
Leggett said something about Carolina told him that if he was there at 33, they were going to draft him, and then
Oh, okay.
Dave Canales said, "Yeah, I
said,
said
well, yeah, I told it to 50
guys."
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And I like Leggett a lot, by the way. The 1 year, the only like 1 year production thing. That kid went through a lot. He's a fighter.
Yeah, there's quite a story there. Right?
Yeah, Coleman's thread on that was great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the pick is in.
So Cooper DeJean falls out of the first round entirely. That I would not have predicted at all.
Yeah.
I suppose it was a case of the testing and whatnot, and obviously he had the leg injury, and it was a delayed testing. Didn't do the combine. He still did interviews and stuff at the combine, didn't he?
I think maybe I didn't really hear anything either way. So
maybe it's a case of people see him as a safety.
I think that's more likely it. They just don't see him, or that maybe even as a slot, but not as an outside corner, right? That's kind of the thing. So we got Buffalo and New England ahead of us tomorrow. So Buffalo, you think is receiver, right? New England, we also think is receiver, but
New England could be tackle too,
yeah,
or some sort of offensive line.
They could also be cornerback. I mean, the Monty draft chart includes a lot of New England patterns, and they like cornerbacks on day 2, like second and third round.
They just got Gonzalez in the first last year.
That's true. Yeah, but they yeah.
I mean, either way, however you guys look at it, we could come away with DeJean, Johnny Newton, or Kool-Aid.
Yeah, all three. One of those 3 will be available to us, at least. Yeah. Potentially 2 if we think Buffalo's taking receiver.
Frazier, same still.
So you're saying a chance we get Johnny. There's absolutely, at this point, unless the Panthers somehow inexplicably take him, there's a chance. Absolutely. I mean, again, I could see New England taking him. I think Buffalo probably is more likely receiver. But I think there's a good chance. The thing we have to prepare ourselves for is that Monty goes in a different direction, though, that he doesn't take him, right? But they met with him. They like him. So here's hoping, right? Yeah. Hey, Dana, thanks for hanging out. We always appreciate your input and stuff. You always have really great insights. So you are a valuable member of this community. So definitely appreciate you. So Panthers pick. See who this is.
It's got to be Leggett, isn't it?
So what is that? That was 3 in the top 10.
We have Pearson.
Worthy.
So it was a 6. Worthy, Pearson.
Worthy.
Brian Thomas.
Yeah, it's a 7.
7.
Wow. 7 receivers, 6 quarterbacks.
That's the record, right? 7. I think 6 was the record for wide receivers.
It's funny. A.D. Mitchell, we thought he was going to go in the first round. He didn't, right? It was others that went ahead of him. So, wow. All right. So now we're on to the second round. Buffalo, New England, and us. Tomorrow is going to be an exciting day. All those picks, right?
Absolutely. All those picks. So we have to wait until the 3rd for them. But
yeah, I think A.D. Mitchell to Buffalo. Definitely could see that making a lot of sense.
Could be Troy Franklin.
Maybe a Keon Coleman.
Malachi Corley might even be up there. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, let's. So, first round's in the books. Any final thoughts before we kind of end this?
I think it was cool. 2 positions of need for us.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to use any capital for any trading.
Mm-hmm.
Going in tomorrow in an even stronger position, really. Obviously, you've got good players left on the board for the rest of the 35. We'll see what Monty cooks up tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I feel like pick 4 honestly had been 2 years in the making, and it just feels so nice for it to finally be done.
Yeah, Brandon, any parting thoughts on your end?
No, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for jumping in. It would have been really long and boring if it was just me. But yeah, my final thought is it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Cardinal. That is amazing. And day 2 stacks up really nice for defensive players for us with the way first round was so offensive heavy. So really excited to see what Monty does there. Be interested to see if he moves up a little bit, like use some of that to get a couple, move back into the second round or something. So we'll see, but I'm excited. So, all right, well, I'm going to end the stream. Thank y'all for being here, and Merry Draftmas. All right, bye everyone.
Cheers, guys. Good to see
I
you.
guess.
Bye.
Thanks for the stream.